put a triangle up here, and at the top we put a D, at the bottom right we put an S, at the bottom left we put a T, and the D stands for direction. The S stands for strategy. That's what we're going to talk about today. And the T stands for teamwork. All right. Now, last night we talked about direction. And direction, there's a lot to direction, but we talked about 5 major points. 5 major points. And the first one was divine instructions. What does that mean? Somebody tell me what divine instructions means. Hearing from the Lord. Is that important? Yes. Is that important above all else? Yes, yes it is. Before we come up with some slick mission or vision, we need to know what God is saying, because you're going to have God's backing if you do what the Lord says to do. And so we talked about divine instruction. Then we talked about mission. Somebody tell me, what is a mission? Who you are and what you do. Does it change from season to season? No, because you're an ice cream truck, right? Okay, so mission is just what you're called to do. It's not so much the opportunity at hand or the fire you have to put up, whatever you have to deal with in this next season. It's what you do. No matter what comes, what's happening, what season it is, that's who you're called to be. Vision. Somebody give me a quick read on what vision is. Where are we going? Okay, and this can be seasonal. Let me give you an example just from our church. This may help bring it a little more clear to you. Our mission at our church has always been building solid lives. But when you unpack that a little bit, we build solid lives through services, discipleship, and now just this year we've added rock groups, which are small groups or cell groups. Services, discipleships, and rock groups. That's what we do. But we build solid lives. We want people to learn to come to Jesus, hear his sayings, and do them. Not just come to Jesus one time, but come all the time to Jesus. Prayer, reading the Word, listening to him, and then walking that out, doing what he says to do. And so that's our mission. That's what we do. Now, currently, tomorrow I'm going to really cast a lot of vision. Now, our congregation already knows about this, but tomorrow's the day that we're going to cast a lot of vision for another building, a downtown campus. It's right next to City Hall in Anaheim. And so, a week from tomorrow, we're going to bring an offering to the Lord to kick off this building project and some pledges and things for this new building. So that's our vision. Our vision over the next year is to buy a building in downtown Anaheim so we can expand our services. We run out of parking. We're running into some crunches that are limiting us. And so we want to buy this building so that we can have 2 services on Sunday morning on each campus. And then we'll be able to run a distinct Sunday night service. And so that is now our overall vision. Now each ministry will have a vision, but this is the big vision. And so we're asking all departments to be involved in this. This is our big vision, downtown campus. What are we going to do when we get into this downtown campus? That's exactly right. Everybody see that? See, you can't get these muddled up to where one becomes the big thing, because a building will never do anything. That's a vision. So we're all giving, we're all praying, we're all helping to get this building ready. But once we get in there, and of course I'm talking like it's a for sure thing, we have some obstacles to go through. We got to get the city to approve some things. We need a parking permit because this building has no parking whatsoever. We have to get a parking agreement with the city in their parking structure. So there's some complications that we have to walk through. But once we get into that new building, now we're going to build solid lives. So to be able to understand the distinction between what you do, regardless of what season it is, regardless of what project you're on, once you get that project done, you're going to build solid lives, or whatever it is that your mission is. If you can become clear on that, then you can continue to do your mission season to season, vision to vision. When we were building renovating our big sanctuary that we have now, it was like a $4 million project. We saved a lot of money because we didn't just hire the contractors to do it all. We had work days, work nights, people coming in all day long, all night long, and working this thing. And while we were in that mode, we still did discipleship classes. We continued to call people in. We never stopped that for the vision. Why? Because we got to build solid lives. We can't get caught up into the building and all these people are coming and we're not discipling them. So we were running both. Now that's not the easiest thing to do, but we just determined mission is what we do. Day in, day out, season in, season out, we do this. And so we just kept discipleship going, but we were also doing this over here. So it's kind of like the trowel in one hand and the sword in the other hand, like when Nehemiah was rebuilding the walls. You remember this? And sometimes you have to pull double duty like that. But we didn't want to stop our mission because we felt like we can't get caught up in the building and forget the lives. We got to be doing both. That doesn't mean that everybody was involved in both. But we as a church were involved in both, and so we had the vision going. At the same time, we had the mission going. So mission, just the way we see it, it never stops. This is what we do all the time. And we know how we do it, and we know how effective it's being because we're measuring it. But vision is changing from season to season. Now we've got a building. Okay, now over here we're launching a new ministry. Like, for example, when we were in January, our vision was to launch cell groups. We call them rock groups. That was our vision. And so we just geared up and worked on it and such. But all the time, we're still doing discipleship. We're still doing our mission. Now, we're launching our rock groups, and now we're in the process of redesigning our discipleship so that they could function in rock groups. And we believe that discipleship can multiply faster if it's out there where the people are. Jesus said, go therefore and make disciples. So now that's another vision that's in the works that is helping us to get to a place where we can better do our mission. In fact, here's a great way to say this. Every vision should put you in a position to better pursue your mission. That make sense? If it's not helping you to pursue your mission, why are you doing it? So it'll help you to do it with more people or more effectively. That's what vision is all about. That's what vision is all about. And then, of course, goals is taking a vision and breaking it down into bite-sized pieces so that teams and the congregation can get their minds around it, and we can have some victories on the way. And then, of course, the governing values are non-negotiable guidelines that we won't break as we go after this. Okay, everybody say strategy. You're going to like this today. Strategy. And we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to sit mostly on a strategic plan. A strategic plan. I've been a part of a number of different strategic plans. I remember when we had somebody from the corporate world, very high-end person that had helped major corporations strategize and such, come into Foursquare and walk us through some strategic planning. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. Amazing how many angles you can look at a strategic plan from, the detail. And as we went through it, I thought, man, this is just, it would take a guy like that to walk us through something like that. But we came up with tremendous information. And one of the questions I had is, who's going to drive that? Who's going to drive that? I think Peter Drucker said, every great plan eventually boils down to a lot of work. And so just developing a great plan is not enough. Somebody's got to execute that plan. Somebody's got to drive it through. Well, we're going to talk about execution, but I can tell you right now, if the plan is too complicated, it's hard to drive it through. Because we know it's not going to be as simple as the way we put it on paper. So, over the years, we have worked, and I have worked with a strategic process and tweaked it and tweaked it and tweaked it to get down to just what you really have to get down the road that doesn't overwhelm people with intellectual complications to it that sounds cool while you're in the meeting, but nobody can remember it after you leave. Everybody know what I mean? We're dealing with folks that work full-time jobs, that have financial pressures, they've got children, they've got illnesses, And somehow we need to keep them all focused on what we're doing so we can all get down the road. These plans cannot be limited to just people that are hired at the church. Churches are made up of the body of Christ. And the majority of them, 98% are not paid by the church. It's the body of Christ. And the fivefold ministers are to equip the saints for the work of ministry. And many of you leaders in here aren't paid by the church either. So here we have, it's not the blind leading the blind, but it's the volunteer leading the volunteers. Right? And so all the more, it has to be something we can get our minds around, something that I can remember. I need to remember what we said, what we're doing. And so what I want to walk you through today is developing a strategic plan that is thorough enough, comprehensive enough, and yet simple enough to where we've got everything covered, but we can remember what we're doing. And we can keep track of it, and we can execute it, and just walk it out step by step until we bring it to completion. And when you strategize with a group of people and walk that through and win and actually hit those targets, you know what that does? That raises your credibility as a leader. Because the next time you say, hey, we've got a vision and we're going to strategize for this, they'll say, count me in because I know we're going to win. But if you don't walk it all the way through and finish it, then the first thing they're going to think is, oh yeah, okay, we're good at starting things. We're just not good at finishing things. And churches are famous for that. And I've noticed that in our own church, and I talked to our team about it. We're good at starting things. What about the things we've already started? Are we executing those? Are we finishing those? So let's talk about strategic planning. Strategic planning. Let me get down to that. Directions where we're going. Strategy is how we are going to get there. Proverbs 24 verse 6 in the Message Bible says, it's better to be wise than strong. Intelligence outranks muscle any day. Strategic planning is the key to warfare. To win, you need a lot of good counsel. Now let's talk about the purpose of strategic planning. Why do we want to take time to get into strategic planning? Well, let me give you some reasons. Number one, because the vision is bigger than you are. The vision is going to require more time, more effort than what you can put in it. That's why you're a leader. You're not called to do it all yourself. You're called to lead a team of people to accomplish that vision. So the vision is bigger than you are. Second, the fulfillment of a large vision is only the joint fulfillment of many smaller interrelated visions, all in alignment. In other words, if you have a large vision, you can't just have one project to get that large vision accomplished. That large vision needs to be broken up into smaller parts. And each of those parts have their own strategy, so to speak, to accomplish that part. And if they're all in alignment with one another, now we can accomplish an overall vision. So a strategic plan helps to break it up into those parts so we know what the various parts are and what we have to accomplish to get the overall vision to come to pass. Third, a strategy provides handles for others to help carry the load. Have you ever had somebody say, man, we need help? And you say, yeah, how can I help you? I don't even know. I just need help. I just need help. Let me tell you, one of the worst ways to get help for the nursery ministry is to just say how bad it is. Oh, man, I got too many babies. There's poop all over the place. We ran out of wipes. You know, and you just go on saying, and nobody's helping me. Can you help me? Let me tell you what you just told the person. Stay out. Stay out. They need to know, what do you need? What do you need? I need help. I need help. And you may need help, but if you don't break it down into a strategic plan, nobody has a handle to grab onto to help. We need handles. And then fourth, a strategy is an agreement of how we will approach the vision and the goals. A strategy is an agreement. In other words, you could even have people saying, come on, we're going to help you right now. What's the vision? You tell them what the vision is, and everybody starts to run. But a strategy gets everybody on the same page to where we come up with an agreement of how we're going to approach that. Because there may be 1,000 different ways to approach it, and people will approach it differently. Let me give you an example. Say we stood up and we got rid of all these tables and chairs, and I said, everybody just crowd in the middle of this room. Just stand right in the middle together. And we took a big old rope, like a tug-of-war rope, and we put it around the whole group. We said, okay. And so the people on the outside, they're holding this rope like this, and the people on the inside, they're just standing there. And then I said this. I said, you know what? Here's the vision. The vision is we're going to get out of this room as fast as we can. In fact, I want us all out of this room in 10 seconds. Oh, everybody, we can do that. We can do that, right? And if I just said 1, 2, 3, go. Well, there'd be some people, obviously people that are facing that door out there, they're thinking, well, man, there's a door right over there. And other people say, well, I came in that way, let's go out that way. Other people say, this way. And there might be other people saying, I wonder if there's a door over here. On the count of 3, everybody would start to push different directions. Oh, no, over here. No, well, I thought we were going over here. And what's going to happen is we're not really going anywhere, but it's getting frustrating. Because you're trying to go somewhere and you feel like you're getting yanked around and somebody's pushing you a different direction. And eventually what's going to happen? After people are falling over each other, somebody's going to take that rope and fling it off and say, this is dumb. And what does Proverbs say about prophetic vision? Where there's no prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint. Prophetic vision must not just be the end result, but include how we're going to get there. Otherwise, the people get discouraged because I'm trying to work and nobody's working with me. I'm not getting any approvals. I can't get any participation. I thought we were going this way, but you're going that way. And so without a prophetic vision strategy, people get frustrated and they cast off restraint, and it's unnecessary. So a strategy provides an agreement, not only of where we're going, but how we're going to get there. So when we all walk out to do the vision, we're all going the same direction. Now, what if I said, listen, we're all going to get out of here, and we want to get out of here in 10 seconds. And what we're going to do is we're just going to walk right around those chairs and right out that door right there, and we could probably get through there in about four people wide, so everybody line up together, ready on the count of 3, go. And everybody turn that direction, and here they go. All right, get behind me. Okay, there we go. Why? Because we just had a little specific direction, reduced the frustration, gave everybody the how we're going to get this thing done, and before you know it, we're all moving the same direction, and everybody can give a little instructions because they know what we're agreeing on. That make sense to everybody? Listen, if you don't have a strategy and you just have a vision, it's going to become frustrating and people are going to quit because they can't get any agreement of how we're going to get there. Now let's talk about the importance of written strategies. Written strategies. I suggest you not just have a strategy in your mind, but it's important that you write the strategy down. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision. Why do you think the Bible says, write the vision? You know, it can change in your mind. You don't even realize it. It'll self-edit because new information comes and then you just keep tweaking it in your mind, but nobody can see that. But if you write it down, then you're stuck with what you wrote, and now you'll have to go edit what you wrote so that everybody can see it. So let me give you some reasons why you need a written strategy. Number 1, most people learn better visually. Most people learn better visually. If it's all verbal, then people don't grasp it as much. They don't visualize and understand it as much. But when you put it on paper and they can see it and hear it, they learn better. Number 2, writing shows commitment. Writing shows commitment. When you write something down, it shows commitment. What happens when you go to buy a house? Even if you're buying a house cash, they're going to have a lot of words on a paper, aren't they? This is what we're agreeing to. And then we want you to sign it. Like, hey, I don't need to do this. I'm giving you cash. Take the cash and give me the deed. Done. Oh, no. We want to make sure we're in agreement here on how this exchange is happening and what this exchange means. And so writing shows commitment. It shows if I'm the leader and I'm putting this in writing, it shows everybody on my team that I'm serious about this. Third, writing makes it easier to refer to. Writing makes it easier to refer to. In other words, if we just have a verbal agreement of how we're approaching this, and then it changes, or we need to say, oh yeah, what was that again? And we just sit there, what did we say? Oh, there was something. It was right before we ate that cheesecake. Oh, let's see. What was that? Well, it's hard to refer to. But if you have it in writing, you just go back to it and you look at what we said. And then fourth, writing clarifies what we're agreeing on. Writing clarifies what we're agreeing on. And that goes along with what we said earlier. Number 5, writing creates confidence to act. Writing creates confidence to act. Something happens when people see their part in writing. And when they see it in writing, it gives them the confidence like, yeah, okay, I've really got to go ahead now because it's right there on the page. Gives them the confidence to act on that. Okay, and then 6th, writing is easier to change. Writing is easier to change. If it's all verbal, and now you say, oh yeah, okay, we better change that. Okay, well let's do it. Let's change it and do this and that and the other. Okay, that's good between you and that person, but what about the other 12 people that were in that room when you talked about it? How are you going to get to all of them? And will the grapevine really get it to them clearly? And are they all realizing which part of the strategy you're talking about? And so once you put it in writing, now you can go back and edit it and say, everybody come down to page 3, look down at point 4, see that? Okay, we're changing this from this word to these words because we ran into a complication, so here's what it is. Everybody got it? Okay, there we go. Or here's a new sheet, we printed it out for you. This is the new way we're doing it. And so it makes it easier to change. So write the vision. Write the vision. Now, what did God do with his vision? You know, God has a vision, doesn't he? He wants to reach all the people in the world. And so what did he do? Did he write it down? That should be an easy answer. Come on. What is his vision statement called? The Bible. Isn't that right? It is written, Jesus said. Write the vision. God wrote his vision. Can you imagine what it would be like for Christians on the earth to pursue God's vision with no written text? You think we'd be in even more disagreement than we already are? Isn't that right? God wrote this thing out, I mean clearly, with many words of how he sees things and how we're supposed to pursue things. And we just want to do it the way he said to do it. And some people are more strict to the text of what God said to do. And other people, it's kind of like just generally, hey, God loves people. And, if we know he loves us, then whatever we want to do, we know he loves us, so it's okay. And there are people that call themselves Christians that take that approach. But we can always say, hey, let's go back to what God said. Thank God for the Bible. Amen? We can hold people to it and say, look, hey, we didn't write this. God wrote this. This is the vision. Let's go back and see what he said. We're not going to edit it, change it, cut anything out. You get cursed if you do that. But God wrote the vision. Well, if God writes his vision, we ought to write our visions. Especially when Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision. Write the vision, that he may run who reads it. So people will have more confidence to act if they see something in writing. Now, I want to do something quickly. We all think that when we speak, people should understand us. But have you ever noticed how much misunderstanding there is? We all just think, we use these terms and words, and verbally we can just get into a mess, and we just think we're communicating more clearly than we are. Now let me try something here, okay? All right, I need somebody here that you know nothing about baseball. You just do not know the rules of baseball, how it all works. Anybody in here, you don't know anything about baseball?
Wow.
Okay, come on up. Back in the back. Come on up. Yeah. All right. Now I need somebody that knows about baseball. Somebody, you understand the rules of baseball. Come right on up here. You understand the rules of baseball, and you believe that you have the ability to communicate clearly rules about baseball. All right, come on up. All right, come on up. Okay, take that microphone right there. Now, let me ask you first of all, okay? You know about baseball? You only know a little bit? Okay, you know quite a bit. All right, good. Do you know what a pitcher is?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what a catcher is?
Yes.
Do you know what a strike is?
Yes.
Okay. What I want you to do is, what's your name now?
Hans.
Hans, and your name? Sierra. Hans, all I want you to do is, I'm just going to have you explain one thing. I just want you to explain to Sierra what a strike is. Can you do that?
Yes.
Okay. Here you go.
All righty. You have a pitcher that stands about 60 feet away, 60 feet from the catcher. Okay? He throws the ball to the catcher. So I'm going to make you the batter. Okay? Put your hands up like that. And there's a, what they call a plate.
Like, is that a
It's
dinner
about like
plate?
this.
That is-
Drawing it out. Okay? Nothing, just look at it.
There's always a third time.
You're going to be watching the pitcher throw the ball.
Here, let me hold this for you. You go ahead and explain.
Pitcher throws the ball to the catcher that sits like this. He's trying to get you to swing it. He wants you to miss it. He's throwing it to the catcher, not to you. He throws it to you, you're in trouble. Might hurt. So a strike has to be directly over the plate area, but in between your knees, okay, and right here, top of that belly. Preferably the feet of your kid when it's ready to come out.
Now, what happens if the batter's not pregnant?
That might stick over the plate,
Okay. All right.
so we might put padding on that.
Okay, now you're just explaining what a strike is, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So the pitcher throws it, and if it comes in between your knees and your baby's feet, and over top of that plate, in that square rectangle,
What square rectangle?
imagine.
Okay. So there's an imaginary square rectangle.
Right here.
Okay.
If it comes within that area, it's a strike. And it's all on the judgment of a guy, a funny-looking guy with all this gear on standing behind the catcher.
Okay.
That everybody loves.
So is he imagining that square, or is the batter imagining?
He's imagining that square, and you are too, because you got to swing at it if it's within that square. Try to hit that ball.
Okay. So what's a strike?
A strike is a ball that goes within that square that you either swing and miss at, or just watch it go by. Fair enough?
Okay.
You guys understand?
Does that make sense to you? Okay. So, and that's a strike.
That's a strike.
So if you understand that, now you understand what a strike is.
Yes.
Okay. Got it? What did somebody say?
What? I didn't hear.
Okay, they said if you swing and miss it, but it's not in the imaginary square, that's
Oh,
also a strike.
that's also
Is
a
that
strike.
also a strike?
Yes,
Well,
it
you didn't
is.
say that.
It could be up here.
Okay, so now wait, you didn't say anything about that. Now you're supposed to be explaining to her what a strike is. Okay. Now, you think you can do it? Here, explain. Tell her what it is.
So, if it's within that imaginary rectangle that we talked about, it's a strike. If the ump sees it. I should have put that in there. Because sometimes they don't notice it. Or if you swing at any ball, when the pitcher throws it, before it hits the catcher's mitt, or after it hits the catcher's mitt, or whenever, that's a strike. There's also swing at it without hitting it. Or just fouling it. Now I got to explain what a foul ball is. That's why I don't teach people how to play games. I hate teaching people how to play games. I'm not even going to try to teach you what a foul. I can't. There's no way.
Do you give up?
I give up.
Now let me ask you something.
Does anybody have a white flag?
What is it like on a third strike? Like if you tip it and it goes out of bounds, that's a strike, right?
Right.
Okay. But what about on the third, after you have 2 strikes and you tip it and it goes out of bounds? Is that 3 strikes and you're out?
No, it's 8.
Not if you foul it unless you're bunting.
So that's not a strike.
It's a strike, but you're not out. Unless you're bunting. This is terrible.
Okay, how many strikes and you're out?
They got a rule book this thick, and I don't know what to do.
And what about now when you foul tip it to the
If I
catcher?
just go home.
All right, that's a deal. Now, how many of you can see that something you think is so simple, right? You're just gonna, hey, and of course that's a strike, and then you just move on, and you just presume everybody understands what you're talking about. And we haven't even gotten to the rules about if you tip it and the catcher catches it, and why does the guy start running? And the catcher's got to tag him. You know, sometimes we think these terms that we use, everybody understands. And we don't stop to explain what we're talking about. Everybody understand? Listen, this costs us in leadership. We don't break it down simply. We don't stop and make sure, does everybody understand? Okay, let's break that down. Let's talk about it. And everybody thinks they know what a strike is. Nobody knows what a strike is. Give them a hand, would you? So, one of the biggest mistakes we make as leaders is we use terminology that we think everybody understands, and they don't understand. Breaking it down, putting it in writing, gives people an opportunity to visualize it, to ask questions, and to say, what does that mean? What does that mean? And don't think that they're delaying the meeting. This is helping everybody to be on the same page so we can all play baseball together. All right, let's talk about preparing for a strategic plan. I've learned that if you don't prepare for it properly, it won't go as well as it needs to. First of all, in preparation, James 1:5, if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproaching, it will be given. But as you're approaching this as a leader, ask the Lord for wisdom. Lord, we need your wisdom. We're coming together not just to brainstorm, but to spirit storm. We need to know what the Holy Spirit is saying. Ask God, Lord, who do I invite to the meeting? And such. Which is the second point. In preparing for a strategic plan, listen to this, you need to assemble the right team. The right team. Getting warm bodies in the room is not good enough. You need the right team. The key to commitment is involvement. The key to commitment is involvement. So, if you have people that should be leading a certain part of your strategy, and they're not in that meeting, and you developed this whole strategy and they weren't there, don't expect them to be committed to it. They're not involved in it. They don't see it. They don't get it. And now you spend several hours putting together a strategy, and now how are you going to come and rehearse that whole thing to this person without their participation in it? And they're just going to say, I love the whole thing, every detail, I'm committed to it. They're not. You're not even going to have the time to go and to sell it to them. There's just not the time. So you need to get the right people in the right room. Invite the key leaders and develop the strategy with them. With them. Don't deliver the strategy to them. Develop the strategy with them. If you develop the strategy without the team, you will have to sell it to them later, and that's really, really tough. So what kind of people do you need? Well, you need people in the strategic planning meeting that have key information. If you get people in there that don't know anything, they don't understand how things work in the church, they don't understand how we're accomplishing things, what the protocols are, what the systems are, or they don't understand what the budget is, they don't understand who the necessary people are to talk to, then you got a bunch of people in the room that don't know anything. You have to have context. And some people are going to know more about the systems and the administrative processes. Others are going to know more about the ministry. Some may more know about the communication of the church. You have to have people that know something so that as it comes up and says, yeah, how do we do that? Somebody says, here's how it works. Somebody needs to know, generally, everything that we need to know as we're approaching this strategy. Here's another thing you need. You need people that have influence. If you have all people in this meeting that are not connected, they have no influence with anybody, well, who's going to lead this thing? The people in the strategic planning session need to be leaders that walk out and build their own teams and lead people. So if you have all sweet people in there that have no ability to lead anybody, then your vision is only as big as the people that were sitting in that room. You need people that come in, that build this with you, that can walk out and employ, not employ financially, but motivate, mobilize, recruit, and place people into key roles so that this vision and strategy becomes large. So you need people who have influence. You also need people who are faithful. People who are faithful. In other words, here's a big influencer in our ministry or church or somebody that we know that has a lot of influence, but we can't depend on them. They cop an attitude. They're immature. Or they flake out. Well, they may be influential because they got a great personality, but you can't lean on them and depend on them. So they may be disqualified because of those points. I remember, and by the way, you as the leader have to be committed to this. I remember I would go around to different churches and help with strategies. And often, the senior pastor would ask me to come in, and I just walk through a strategic planning with their team. Now, my role was not to tell them what they should do. My role was to ask the questions. Proverbs 20, verse 5 says, wisdom in the heart of man is like deep waters, but a man of understanding will draw it out. And I would always tell them, my role here is not to bring wisdom, but to draw the wisdom out of all of you. The Holy Spirit's in you. You're part of this ministry. My job is to bring the wisdom out and to help you capture it on paper. But I remember I went to one church and we developed a whole strategy for youth ministry with key players. And here's the senior pastor sitting right there, the youth pastor sitting right there, and other leaders, the administrator of the church sitting right there. And they were with us for hours. I'll bet you we spent 7 hours plus strategizing to launch a whole new youth ministry. And there's the senior pastor right there the whole time. The administrator right there the whole time. Why? Because this wasn't just the youth people doing a little something. This is the church wanting to go after youth ministry in a big way. And to do that, if it's the church thing, the senior pastor needs to be involved. And I'm telling you, we strategized. They worked that thing, launched that thing, and they doubled and tripled their amount of youth that they were reaching, kids getting saved and changed. And I mean, it was an extraordinary thing. Churches from all around coming over to find out, what are you doing? What's going on here? Learning from them and such. So no telling what all the Lord did with that. I went to another church about equal size. And we got into the strategy and such, and about an hour and a half into it, the senior pastor said, hey, I got to go. I got some things I got to do, but you guys carry on. You're doing a good job. And he left. And then, about an hour and a half before it was completed, the youth pastor said, hey, listen, I got something else I got to take care of. Can you just keep it going? And that one flopped. They threw a lot of money at it, but it flopped. See, listen, you got to have commitment. And the leaders got to be committed, but the people have to be committed. You can't go in and say, yeah, I'll just show up a little bit here and show up a little bit there. Look, we need to come to a documented agreement of what we're doing and how we're doing this. And if we have people that want to come in and, well, I can be there in the morning and everything, we need to have the guts to say to them, you know what, listen, I understand you got a lot going. Don't worry about it. We'll get somebody else. No, I can be there for a little bit in the morning. We say, you know what we're doing is a strategic planning, and so it really doesn't help so much just to be in for a part of it. We need you in the whole thing, because we all have to agree on all the details of what we're doing, so that when we walk out of there, we have an agreement of a whole team of leaders of how we're going to do this. And so if you miss a big part of this, then there's no way that we'd be able to catch you up. We need somebody that's involved in the whole thing that's going to lead that part. You'll be surprised how some people will reconsider and say, I'll be there. But if you don't value it as a leader, they're not going to value it either. If you don't value it, they won't value it. So it would be better, and we've left leaders out before that were really good leaders, influential leaders. Sometimes we talked them into it and said, no, we need you there. Please, we need you there. You are a key player. We really need you there. And really that honors them and tells them you're important. And some of them make adjustments, some don't. And the ones that don't, we replace them and get somebody in there. Because better to have somebody faithful that's really a part of this thing than somebody just influential, but you can't lean on them. You can't depend on them. So we need people that will take responsibility. In other words, we don't just need somebody that's going to come in and be excited about walking through the strategy, but when it comes to the end of the strategy and we say, okay, who can take this part? They sit on their hands. Now, I can't do anything. I just wanted to come in and help you guys and kind of give you ideas of what you guys could do, but I can't do anything. Well, listen, those aren't the ones I need in the meeting. I need people in the meeting that when we get to the end and we determine who's going to take which part, I need everybody to say, I'll take that a piece. I'll take this piece, or I'll take that piece. And a lot of times it's, I'll take this piece, but I'll also help this person with that piece. Because we're working together. So we need people that are willing to be responsible for a part of this vision. We can't leave it all on the leader. Can everybody say amen to that? We can't leave it all on the leader. We need to break down this responsibility. Your goal is that your team will develop multiple teams. So you have one team of leaders, and your goal is that every one of them will develop their own teams. And so if you have 10 leaders, and each of them develop teams of 10, that's 100 people involved in your vision. Isn't that right? But you need to employ that. You need to provoke that. And let them know right up front, you're going to be a leader, you're going to build your own team. If they only had an average of 4 per team, that's 40 people involved instead of 10. And that's what you need to do. You need to break this down and get leaders leading teams. But they have to understand what we're doing. Now, here's another part of preparation. Plan a sufficient amount of concentrated time. I suggest if it's a significant vision, take at least 4 hours. Sometimes we've done a day and a half. Take at least 4 hours. If it's a significant vision, it's going to take a little time. And if you've only got an hour, I mean, if all we're doing is, we're just planning where we're going to go eat after Sunday night service, well, that might be an hour. But if you're planning something as big as a ministry of a church, or the overall vision of the church, or even if you're planning the church picnic, and you don't just want to have done it, you want to have accomplished things, relationships, connection, people being reached out to that are disenfranchised and such. If you have some key objectives that you want to accomplish, then it's going to take a little time for us to walk through a strategy to make sure that it's at least comprehensive enough to get those things done. You want to communicate the time, the place, and the purpose of the strategy meeting clearly to everyone who's invited in advance. You want to communicate the time when we're meeting, how long we're meeting, the place, and the purpose. Why are we meeting? Just to say, hey, listen, I need you to block 4 hours of your time out and, week from Saturday. Just be there. Well, some people would do it. But other people, they need to know, what's this about? Why 4 hours? I mean, I got things to do. So you need to communicate to them in advance why this is so important that they do it. And you're going to find out, most all of you are going to find out that some people say, I can't be there the whole time, but. Communicate up front the purpose. Say, listen, I know this is a big block of time, and I know this is a big commitment for all of you, but let me tell you what I believe we're going to come out with if we do this. Cast a vision for it. Let them know why it's so important. And right up front, eliminate the excuses of not being there the whole time. All right, now, this is funny. Prepare your materials. Prepare your materials. I suggest you have a flip chart, a sturdy stand, a flip chart, and colored markers, not a whiteboard. Not a whiteboard. Now, why is that? Because you erase it, it's gone. Well, somebody's taking notes. That's true, but during the course of this strategic planning meeting, we can't refer to anything because it's gone. Well, they typed it out. Yeah, but we can't see that. Listen, electronics are great. Word files, Excel files, and all that, those are wonderful things. Let me tell you what I discovered. I discovered that we had all of these detailed bits of information and reports and all kinds of things with our team. I'm talking about our senior leadership team, full-time, experienced people. And they would say, oh yeah, we got that somewhere on the report, and we'd all sit there and wait while somebody, let me pull that up here. Where is this? Where do I thought you put it over there. And then we were wasting time because we didn't have it right in front of us. And so we've got detailed information in files, electronic files. And we can all get to it. We work through Dropbox, so we can all get to these things. But we were wasting our time. And so you know what we did? We took the key information, we printed it out, we put it in notebooks for these guys in paper form. We handed them all notebooks, said bring your notebook because there's certain things we need to refer to all the time as we're walking through our strategic plans and our visions and such, our budgets and such. And when it's buried in electronics, we can't see it. We even got, we got the plasma up there, so we hook up the computer to the plasma. There, we can all see it right there. That's true. One page. We can all see one page. But different ones have things that they're thinking about, and they can't get to, can you move that? I got to go. Somebody says, no, I'm looking at that. We need to be able to look at different things at different times so we can have a discussion. Does everybody understand? So don't let electronics trip you up. If it's not working for you, work with paper. The reason why I suggest a flip chart and not a whiteboard is because as you peel these pages off and begin to paste them on the wall, and you go further into the strategy, you're going to say, oh, we need to add that to that certain page. Where is it? It's right there. Walk over there and you add it. You can't do that once you've erased it. And people need to see it on that page. And this thing's going to evolve. This is a living document that's going to evolve during the course of the strategy. So you need a flip chart and some colored markers. You need tables and chairs that are arranged for both viewing and discussion. Viewing and discussion. It's kind of a conversational layout. They need to view the flip chart, but they also need to be arranged so you can discuss things. I suggest just having some writing pads and pens for everybody, because some people, while another person is talking, they'll think of something, and you just tell them, hey, if you think of something while we're talking, just write it down so you don't forget it. Take some notes, and people will start to write things that they need to do. Snacks are always good. Snacks and at least water. Why? Because as meetings go along, just to have a little something to munch on helps, doesn't it? Helps, doesn't it? Do you guys have snacks on the table? All right. Scotch tape. Now, these particular pads that I have up here, this is a posted pad. So these have the sticky on the back, and they're just so easy to tear off and hang on the wall. But they're probably double the price or more. So you can save money if you want to just by getting the cheaper pads and have a little deal of Scotch tape ready to go. So by the time you get done with your strategy, you're going to have these flip chart pad papers all over the wall. And people are going to get the idea very quickly. You are serious about this. This is no joke. We're writing it down. We've got a vision. This is important. You know, the kingdom of God is important. Sometimes people will say, you'll say, hey, what happened there? That didn't go. Yeah, it's good enough for church. Don't let people get by with that. We're part of the most important business in the world, above Microsoft, above Apple, above IBM, above any other company out there. The most important business in the world, and the largest, is the kingdom of God. Of the increase of his government, there will be no end. We need to take it seriously and say, even Mrs. Fields made this statement, good enough never is. We need to say, no, this is the kingdom of God. And so when you're putting this in writing and getting it all over the walls, not to look good, but because we need that information and strategy, it helps everybody to realize, hey, we're serious about this. This is not just something to sort of stimulate our excitement. No, we're going to get this thing done. And it shows your commitment. Okay, now I want to teach you a technique that most of you are going to be familiar with. Let me bring this up. Let's see, is that going to work? Yeah. I want to teach you why I suggest in strategy you use this technique. And the technique's called mind mapping. Everybody know what mind mapping is? Now, I want to talk to you about why. Why would we do that? Some of you really like linear form. Linear means that it all flows one direction. It starts from the top and flows one direction. And there's several types of linear form that we use all the time. One is outline. Outline, Roman numeral 1, subpoint, capital A, right? And then a sub bullet points after that. And it's in outline form. Now, outline form is good because it organizes thoughts. So there's nothing wrong with that. Or there's bullets. Just, dot, 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 or arrow, arrow, arrow. Okay, those are bullets. Third is paragraph form, where you're just flowing and writing and such. Those are all linear styles of capturing something in writing. But for strategy, I suggest to you that none of those are the best. None of those are the best. Because it requires sequential thinking. In other words, I need to know what's first, and then I don't need to know what's fourth, I need to know what's second. Because we're capturing this in linear form, so we're always limiting ourselves to the next thing, and not as thoughts come. And so it discourages random or brainstorming ideas. Everybody looks at it, and you're writing from top to bottom. And so when you put up here, first thing we need to do is this. And that sounds good. And everybody's thinking, okay, what's next? What's next? But our minds don't necessarily think sequentially. Our minds just think. Right? And thoughts just come. And so when you're trying to capture something in linear form from top to bottom, sequentially, then you're going to limit people's creativity, and you're going to limit the things that they have that are exciting. Mind mapping flows in many directions all at the same time. It embraces a first capture, then organize approach. In other words, let's just get it all up here, and then we can organize it. Mind mapping also allows random thinking and ideas, and it encourages creativity. It accommodates forethoughts and afterthoughts, instead of limiting everybody to just what's next on the paper. Now, let me give you some examples. I want you to take a blank spot on your paper, or a blank paper, and to those of you that are taking notes electronically, just grab a piece of paper right now. And I want you to do this. I want you to put, by the way, Rick or whoever, let's make sure that we have more flip chart pages, because I'm probably going to use all these today. Okay, I want you to do this. Right in the middle of a section of your paper, just put roles and put it in a circle there in the center of a section or center of a paper. Roles. Now, did you do this yesterday? Some people said yes, and some people said no. All right. Say it. Roles and goals. So did you mind map your roles? Okay. I want you to mind map your roles right now. Okay? All I want you to do is, like for me, okay, I could just say husband. But I'm going to have several other roles. Just quickly do it. I want you to take maybe a minute. Put roles in the middle, mind map it. All right. Did you get at least 4 written? Okay, here's what I want you to do. Now watch this. I want you to sequence these by when you took on that role. Like, for example, for me, the husband is going to be before father. That's a good thing, right? Okay, so I became a husband first. When did you become these different roles? I'm a pastor, I'm a leader, I'm a friend. Well, maybe I'm a friend to people that I was friends with before I even became a husband. So friend would go number 1, and husband would go number 2. Here, 4, pastor, 5, leader. There it is. I just did that. Okay, now you do it quickly. When did you take on those roles? All right. Most of you, I can see you're done. Okay, now, do you see how easy it was, once you had it all captured, just to sequence that? Now, if you had done it the other way to say, okay, now I want to get my roles and I want to get them in the order that I've done it. Let's see, what was the first one that I did? Let's see. I think, was it friend? No, not friend. I think it was father, husband. Husband, was that it? What's the first one? See, and you get stuck because you're trying to do everything inside of your mind. And that's what we do to people. When we write in linear form, we try to get them to figure it all out in their mind before they speak anything. And with mind mapping, you just say, hey, let's just throw it all up there because it's a whole lot easier to organize once we can see it. Everybody get that? Okay, do one more exercise. Find another blank spot, and I want you to say we're going to plan a winter camp. We're going to plan a winter camp, okay? And I just want you to write 5 goals of this winter camp. 5 goals. It could include safety, but it's going to have some other things. Just write 5 goals quickly. Mind map it. Just try to use 1 or 2 or 3 words. You don't have to write full sentences. All right. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you, instead of sequencing this, I want you to prioritize which is the most important goal all the way to the last one. Just number them. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's the most important goal? If you didn't accomplish anything else, you got to get this one. And then second, third, and fourth. That's a good question. What group was it for? It could have been anything you wanted. I had youth on my mind, but yeah, whatever was on your mind will work. Okay, who wants to stand up and read us your goals in order? Who wants to do that? Okay, right back there, nice and loudly.
All right, winter camp. First goal, have a theme.
Have a theme.
Recruit leaders.
Recruit leaders.
Recruit a speaker.
Recruit a speaker.
Worship leader.
Worship leader.
Activities.
Activity.
And registration.
Okay, you had 6. Okay, very good. Somebody else. Yeah, right back there.
Yeah, I also have winter camp. It's place, content, speaker, leaders, publicity.
Place, content, speaker, leaders, publicity. Very good. Somebody else. Right here.
Services, training, talent, sports, entertainment, and engagement.
Okay. There's 6 right there. And so, how easy was that to prioritize those once you had it all captured? It's easy, isn't it? Okay, I want you to do one more. Ready? Get a blank spot, put a circle in the middle. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to write in the circle a topic of a book that you think would be a good book to write. Just pick one. Doesn't matter what it is, just random, first thing on your mind. What would be a good book to write? Good topic. Put it in the circle. When you got it, just say, got it. Okay, now here's what I want you to do. I want you to start drawing those spiders out from that circle, the spider legs out, and I want you to do this. I want you to write what things you want to make sure to talk about in that topic. Just write at least 5 things that you think, okay, on this topic, I want to talk about this, I should talk about this. Just go ahead. Write at least 5. Just quickly. All right, if you only have 3 or 4, that's okay. All right, now here's what I want you to do. Let's go back to sequencing. On that topic, you've got these things you need to talk about. Just put those in order, like, you know what, I should talk about this one first, and then this one, and then that one. Go ahead, just number them, 1 to 5. Many of you are already done. All right, let me tell you what you just did. You just started your book. You already got a topic, you already got chapters. If you can just take the right approach, the simple approach, it's amazing how quickly you can organize thoughts that are inside of you, but you have trouble getting them out because you're so used to doing it in linear form. You don't just get it out so you can organize it. You're not unlike the people you're going to lead. They need to just get it out. I need to get these things out. In fact, sometimes we'll be on a certain mind map, and people will say something, well, it's not on any page that we have so far. It's on a future page. So what I'll do is I'll take a page and I'll just call it a parking lot. And I'll say, this is where we're going to park ideas that we haven't gotten to yet. And I'll just write it down. Why? Because now it's off their mind. If I don't write it down, they're going to think, yeah, but I don't want to forget about it. I don't want to forget about it. So they keep coming back to that. And now we'll just put it on the parking lot. We'll put that over on the side of the wall. And every time somebody comes up with an idea that it doesn't go on any of the pages that we have yet, okay, let's put that on the parking lot so we don't forget it. We'll just park it right there. And then we'll just keep moving. That make sense? Okay. Now, look on the papers, the handouts that I gave you, and let's look over a strategic planning agenda. This is what I want to suggest to you that you use for your strategic planning. We've distilled this down and boiled this down to bare bones, bare minimums. Number one, pray. You agree with that? Man, it's so important just to start off in prayer for two reasons. Number one, because we want to honor the Lord. Number two, we really do need His wisdom. We really do need His wisdom. And James 1:5 says, ask God and He'll give it to you. So you have not because you ask not. We want to start off by asking the Lord for wisdom. Number two, let's talk about desired results. Desired results. What are desired results? Well, desired results includes vision and goals. Vision and goals. Vision is based on the overall mission and core values of the organization. It's the heart and passion of the leaders. And we're thinking end results, not process. Okay, vision. We've already talked a lot about vision. Goals, we have the SMART breakdown there: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time, dimension. So when we go to capture desired results, and what I do a lot of times is I just put right in the center of the paper, desired results. And I'll say, okay, now let's go back to the church picnic, okay? We're planning a church picnic. What are the desired results? Now, a lot of people will start off with the church picnic just talking about what we're going to do. They want to get right into planning. Well, we need games. Well, we need food. And remember I told you that direction takes the most discipline. Because you get into a meeting, everybody's going to jump into what we do. But how do we know what to do when we don't even know what we're trying to get done? This is where you as the leader must stop everything, slow it down, and make sure that we know where we're going. Like, say we're going to go to New York, okay? Here's the vision. We're going to New York, all right? And so you get in there and you say, okay, now we got a vision and we got a trip that we're planning and such. Somebody said, I think we ought to get a bus. We don't even know where we're going yet, right? And I think we need, you know what, it's beautiful to take the 101 highway up the coast. It's just gorgeous. You don't even know where we're going yet. But people are going to start coming up with ideas because they've already been on a road trip before, and they already like the road, so they're just going to say, let's take this road. But you don't even know where we're going. Well, I've been to a picnic before. Yeah. But we may not be after the same goals and desired results of the picnic. Now, the reason why we say desired results and not just goals is because goals can be limited. For example, a goal of, you know what, we want 100 people at this picnic. You know, our church has maybe 150 people. We want to get at least 100 people out there. Why? Because we want the majority out there. Okay, that's a goal. That's great. And we also have a goal where we want to have games that are going on constantly so that people are not bored. Okay, maybe that's your goal. You got games going on constantly. And we want to have food and that people like the food. Okay, food that people like. So you have these goals. And say you do the picnic and you had 100 people, you had games going constantly, and people really like the food. Now let me ask you this. Is that really what you're after? You got that done. You hit your goals. Is that really why you did a picnic? It's incomplete, isn't it? What do we really want? And we want people to connect. We want people that had no friends to start having some friends. We want the leaders of the church to be able to have time to be with the people. And for the people to feel like we're family. See, and so if you just hit goals, well, you may have hit them, but you didn't get what you really want. We want to know, but what's the desired result? What are we really after? And sometimes those desired results can't be put into SMART goals that are exactly measurable and such. It might be a little intangible, but we'll know if we hit it. And we'll know if we didn't. And so that's why I suggest in a strategic plan, you don't just start with goals, but you start with desired results. It'll include goals because you got to have something measurable in there. Because the goals are to help accomplish the vision, and you put the vision and the goals together, and then you've got your desired results. Does this make sense to everybody? Okay, you as the leader have to value this and understand we can't just hit targets and not get what we're really after. Well, we need to capture on paper what we're really after so that everybody on the team knows what we're really after and not just the goals. Does this make sense? Okay, so we have vision and goals woven in here. But a lot of times I'll just do it as desired results. But we know some of these are going to be very measurable, and some of these are going to be more vision-oriented, like what are we really after? Okay? Desired results. Number 3, sensitivities. Sensitivities. Well, maybe we should just walk through desired results. Let's do this. Let's plan our picnic. Okay? You're my picnic team. And I'm the leader here, right? And I'm going to draw this wisdom out of you. And I explain to you, we're not just after the goals, but what are we really after? When we walk away from the picnic, what do we want to have accomplished? Connection. All right. Connection. And sometimes we can stop and we can talk about what connection means so that everybody knows what connection is. What else do we want? Location. Is that a desired result? Or did we just jump into planning? See? But that's the way our minds think. Ours, theirs, everybody's. And you as the leader have to say, well, is that really, when we walk away from the picnic, say, yeah, we had a location. Is that really what we're after? See, listen, this is what I'm telling you. It takes the most discipline. You are going to have people jump right into planning. And you as the leader have to say, well, is that a part of the process of getting to the desired results? Or is that really what we're after at the end? Oh, yeah, that's just a process. Okay, so enjoy themselves. Do we want that? Okay. Okay, and I'll just put enjoy, fun. Okay, what's another one?
To bring visitors on that Sunday, to bring them out to church.
Okay, we want a lot of the new people to come, right? A lot of the visitors, a lot of new people. We want the new people. Very good. Somebody else. Yes?
Memories.
Memories. We want to create memories, right? Good ones, really, right? Okay. Memories. Somebody give me another one. Good food. Okay, now is good food the result, or is that part of the process to get the result? And this is, by the way, exactly what I do in my meetings. Somebody will come up with something, and I'll say, now is that the result itself, or is that the process to get the result? What do you think? What's the consensus of the room? Process. Because that's not really what we're after, but wouldn't you all agree that's probably going to help us get there? Right? Isn't that true? We need that. So it's not that it's not important, it's just it doesn't fit yet in the direction, it fits in the process to meet the results. Okay? Somebody else had something back here. Accommodating for families. Easy to attend. Okay? So is that the result, or is that something that we need to get to the result?
It supports the enjoyment.
It supports the enjoyment. True. And just remember, this is the first paper. These are the targets on the wall. These are the targets on the wall. We're not shooting at them yet. We're just hanging them. so we know what the targets are. Okay? Community visibility. Okay, so maybe the picnic, one of the desired results are, we want the community to see how much fun we're having over here. Okay? Let's put that one down.
That's what John said earlier as far as location.
Community.
Picking on it.
And you're exactly right. You're exactly right. The location, if this is the desired result, location becomes all the more important, doesn't it? So that's why you got to hang this up here, so you know when we go to choose a location, we're not just choosing a location that's pretty. Now we're specifically choosing a location to hit this. That's why you got to be disciplined not to get to that until you decide this. And now you know what kind of a location you're looking for. Does everybody understand? Okay. So let's move on. Sensitivities. Sensitivities. What people, groups, or entities may be adversely affected by our planning? Or what are some of the potential pitfalls and obstacles we should avoid or minimize? Like, for example, we did a picnic, one of our very first picnics at the church. I think it was the second year. The first year, I don't even think we were open yet. Excuse me, we took the launch team, we did a little picnic, it was easy. Go down and get a few dozen hot dogs, a few dozen buns and everything. We just came, we did it. It was easy. We didn't do any strategic plan, we just said, let's do it. Why? It's only a few of us. But the next year, we got a couple hundred people. And so now we did a strategic plan for the church. But what we didn't consider is we picked a park that was nearby, but it was on a slope. And we had most of our things up toward the top. And the elderly people that were part of our congregation didn't even make it up there. They got a little ways up and then they just parked under a tree. And so the next time around when we did a strategic plan for our picnic, we said, what are the sensitivities? Kind of the hot spots. We said the elderly. Yeah, we need to make sure that as we plan this, we're thinking about things like that. Everybody understand? Or, here's a sensitivity. The people that, the park got upset at us because somebody brought fireworks or whatever. We need to make sure to tell everybody no fireworks. Right? And so these are just things that we should think about, that are sensitivities or hot spots. Or maybe we have a lack of budget. Hey, we're going into this, we want a lot of results. Our desired results page was great, but we got no budget. So now we're going to have to ask the people to bring everything, kind of a potluck style, and that's just a sensitivity that we need to make sure as we're going about this that we don't forget that we need to be clear with everybody, hey, look, and just explain that we don't have a budget, but hey, we got each other, right? And we just have to explain that, just a sensitivity. Okay? Major pieces. Let me flow through these and then we'll come back. Major pieces. We're going to break the whole vision down, not each desired result, into large pieces. And if it can't be broken into smaller pieces, it's probably not a major piece. Should fit under a major piece. And then we'll sequence those. Sometimes I don't do that, but we could. Then minor pieces. We're going to break each major piece into minors. Deadline. We're going to establish an overall deadline for the launch or for the completion or for the picnic or whatever it is. And note what desired results may not be accomplished by the deadline. Let me give you an example. Let's go back to the picnic. Maybe one of our desired results for the picnic is that visitors that come actually decide to join the church. Well, we're not necessarily going to have a join the church booth at the picnic. But what we're wanting is for them to feel so connected to us that in the next few weeks, they'll come to join the church. See, so the desired results may not all take place right then, but it's a result of what we did there. Does this make sense to everybody? Okay. Milestones. We'll agree on some milestone meetings, a meeting schedule in the future, usually spaced monthly. Place an asterisk next to the minor pieces that should be completed by the next milestone meeting. Schedule the next milestone meeting at the end of each meeting, or schedule them all at once. And I suggest you never cancel a meeting, only reschedule. And then roles and responsibilities. I'll explain to you in just a little bit why we do this last. Assign each major piece to one leader. Write their name next to the major piece. You may add other people as helpers, but there must only be one leader. Why? Two heads make a monster. Let me tell you one thing. Volleyball is a great game. Let me tell you what irritates me about volleyball, especially church volleyball. You're on the court with your team, and you see the ball come over, and two of your teammates stand there, and they watch it drop between them. I thought you were going to get it. I thought you were going to get it. That irritates me. And I have to watch myself because I have the tendency to want to say, both of you hit it. Don't leave it. Both of you hit it. Roles and responsibilities. We need to know exactly whose responsibility is whose. And if you assign two leaders, then guess what they do? I thought he was going to do. I thought you were going to do that. We want to eliminate all excuses, all ambiguity. Listen, it's your responsibility to hit that ball when it comes over. And if you delegate to somebody else and they drop it, that's your fault. If they're not hitting it, you hit it. You are responsible to hit it. Now, of course, I'm not talking with that tone. I'm still irritated about the volleyball game. But if you have one leader and you tell them you're responsible, in fact, I'll even say to them, whoever's name is first up here on this major piece, you're the one that has the rear end that we kick if this is not done. And everybody will chuckle and laugh, but they look at me and they know, he's serious. And I am. I'm not literally going to kick them, but we're going to hold them accountable and responsible. C, explain that the leader is not required or encouraged to do all of the work, but to take responsibility for making sure that it gets done by the milestone and deadline. D, encourage each team member who takes charge of a piece of the vision to assemble their own strategic team and take them through a similar process. It may be more simplified, but nonetheless it needs to be thorough enough. And then E, make sure that each responsible party clearly understands. Number 1, the overall vision, deadline. Number 2, the next milestone meeting date. And number 3, the projects and tasks they're responsible to complete by the milestone meeting. Now, so we got to desired results. You take this off. Somebody, would you just post it on the wall over there? There you go. Thank you very much. All right, now here's what I'm going to do. Let's see what we got here. Let's pick a different color for, let me just go black for sensitivities. Okay, sometimes I call these hot spots, potential pitfalls. Somebody tell me we're planning a picnic, okay? What are some sensitivities or hot spots about this picnic? Just things that we just need to think about. Safety, okay? Safety. And there may be a reason why we may have had somebody get injured last year. And so it's like this year we need to be extra cautious and clearly concerned about that so that everybody understands we're not just planning radical things where we don't care about people. Okay, what's another one? Community schedule, weather. Community schedule. What was another one?
Weather, we got it.
Weather was another one? Type. All right, all right, all right, all right. Food type. If we play baseball, trying to figure out what a strike is, right? All right. So here's some sensitivities, and all of you know we could have more. I remember we did some big evangelism events in our new building that we launched 3 years ago. Right next to our new building is a mobile home park. And so we were going late in the night. It was actually a choir of the fire that came, and their loud music and everything. We got a lot of complaints. So the next year we went to do it, we wrote sensitivities down. Okay, the mobile home park, what do we do? Oh, we got to make sure that the loud stuff's shut down by 10 or whatever, you know. And so it's just something to think about. It doesn't mean that that's the point of this whole strategy, but we at least want to know about the potential pitfalls. Okay, what's next on the paper? Major pieces, okay? I'm just going to write right here in the middle of the page, major pieces. Okay, now, we're planning a picnic. Now this is where everybody, I mean, you can just kind of flow freely. Ready? Here, this is where it's not so disciplined like the direction was. Okay? Major pieces. By the way, let me just mention this, okay? The discipline that it takes to hang the targets on the wall is really, I can't highlight that enough. Because you're going to want to jump right into what we're going to do here. Okay? But if you don't hang the right targets on the wall and you hang major pieces on the wall, you're not going to get what you really want out of that. You're going to do it. It'll get done. But you won't get the results. As a leader, you've got to get the results that you're really after. And what you're really after is not a picnic. Not games, not food. People are going to eat without you. You cannot go anywhere as a ministry or a church if you don't, as a leader, understand this is bigger than an event. You must hit the real targets. And it's not good enough to say, well, after the event, hey, well, you know what happened? You know what happened? That was great. And after the event, now you're going to hang the targets and say, well, this is what happened. It's kind of like when, you know, the Peanuts little comic thing, you know, and they had Lucy walks up to Charlie. Charlie's standing next to a fence. And on the fence has this target painted on the fence and an arrow right in the bullseye of the target. And she said, wow, Charlie, that's great. How'd you do that? He said, it was easy. I shot this arrow at the fence and painted these circles around it. And you know, that's the way a lot of people do it. They shoot first and then they say, that's what I wanted. And they paint the targets around it and they think it's great. But their ministry's not going anywhere. Because they didn't discipline themselves to say, but what are we really after? And just tell your team, but what are we really after? What are we really after? And we save the process. Now we're going to get to the process. So, listen to this. This is the way I would do it. I would walk over to the desired results page. And I would say to everybody, okay, listen, here's what we're really after. We want people to enjoy it and have fun. We want people to connect with each other. Like to really become friends and get close. Maybe even invite each other to dinner over each other's houses after this. We want the new people to come. Not just the regular people that always come. We want the new people. How we're going to enfranchise them to come and to enjoy it. We want the community to see the visibility. We want the community to be looking at this event and say, wow, that looks fun. Who are those people? And we want them, if we want the community for it to be visible, maybe it's more than just a location issue. Okay? Memories. We want to create memories. We want this to be something that really stands out in people's minds. Okay? There will probably be more desired results for your picnic or ministry. But let's just go with those. If we're going to hit those targets, what pieces do we need? Okay. We need some activities. Everybody agree on that? Okay. We do need some activities. Okay. What's another one? Music. Do we need music? All right, music. Okay, now let me just ask something. I wrote music up here, but I wonder if music might be a piece, a part of a major piece called a sound system. Or audio visual, maybe not visual, but just the audio. Sound system. And part of the sound system is we need a microphone to make announcements about the activities and such. But part of it is music. What do you think? What's the major piece? Is major piece music or is the major piece the sound system? Okay. You see, this is where you as the leaders, you just ask the questions and provoke the team. And sometimes you'll think it ought to go a different direction. The team will convince you otherwise. There's no perfect way to break it down as long as we have it all here and we all agree to it. So I'm going to cross out music, and this is the power of writing it rather than just verbalizing it. I just crossed out music and I put sound system. Okay? What's another major piece? Food. Is that a big one? Oh, yeah. What's another one? People. Okay? What do you mean by people? And by the way, this is what I would do. Somebody comes up with something, it's like, okay, we can put people down here, but did you think this was like a dog picnic? Okay? So people's good, but we just want to know, what does that mean? And I think I know what it means. Who said it? All right. Okay. See, is that good or what? We need a team of people, whether they are, in certain color shirts with a tag or whether they're undercover, but their job is to help massage in these desired results and get people connecting and involved in things, and they just know their role, right? So what would we call that? We need what is it? Servants, yeah. Connection team. How about that? How about a connection team? Is that good? Is that a major piece? Yeah, okay. Okay, connection team. What's another major piece? Yes.
Maybe like chairs or something people can sit at.
Okay, now let me ask you, is chairs a major piece or is that maybe part of a larger piece? Equipment, facilities. What do you think? Equipment, is that a good one? How many say equipment? How many think, no, that's a bad idea? Who's got a better idea? Facilities?
If you're going to do equipment, don't you have to decide where you're going to have it? Like the location? You get back to that major piece?
Yeah, so that's true, but we're not so much deciding what equipment we're going to have. We're just deciding what the major piece is.
So who's going to be responsible for the equipment?
No, we're not even deciding who's going to be responsible. We're just deciding, do we need equipment?
Yes.
Okay? All right, so is equipment a good title for this major piece? Okay, let's use it.
You can cross out sound system.
Okay, do you think somebody suggesting that we cross out system here and leave sound, but put the system with equipment? Is that what you're saying? Or is sound system, that's different. We don't want that with the people doing the chairs and the tents and all that, right? Okay? Now notice, we can break it up any way we want to, and different ministries or churches will do it different ways because maybe the guy that does audio-visual for the church that's in this meeting also does the pop-up tents and the chairs. And so it makes sense to put them together, right? Because you know who's in the room. So there's no perfect way to break it down. The point of this is to break it down clearly to where we're all going to understand who does what. Good? What's another major piece? Money. How about budget? Okay? All right. Do you think that's important? Okay. If we want all these new people to come and the community, promotion. Can we put promotion? Okay. Okay. What's another one? Okay. So restrooms, water fountains, facilities, okay? Could that maybe be under the major piece of the location? How about that, okay? All right. All right, we're into real estate now. Okay. Location, is that important? Is that a major piece? Okay, because we're going to have to reserve it. I mean, if there's not just 3 or 4 of us, and you're going to have a group of 100 or more, well, you got to reserve something. You can't just say, well, there'll probably be enough room. You can't do that. Right? Okay. Location. What else? Security. Security. Can't tell what you guys are seeing.
That's a complicated order.
Security. What else?
I mean, I don't know, maybe this goes into equipment, but what about stuff for kids?
All right. Stuff for kids. Is that a major piece? Stuff for kids. You think that could be a breakdown of activities? Now listen. It could go either way. You could say, well, here are the activities. That's for like the whole group. But then it'd be good to have stuff specifically for kids, and we should make that a major piece. So it's up to you whether you put that under the major piece activities or whether you make it a major piece all its own.
You're at Grace North, it has to be separate.
Okay. How many of you think we should make it separate? How many of you think we should leave it in activities? That was about half and half. How many of you didn't vote? Okay, that's most of you right there. Let me try it again. Ready? How many of you think we should make it separate from activities? All right, how many of you think we should leave it in activities? Okay, that's the majority. Let's leave it in activities. All right? What else? What is it? First aid. Do we need that? Okay, does that fit under anything else up here, or is that separate? Okay, yeah. It's under safety, so we are being sensitive to it, but it needs to fit here because that doesn't have anybody responsible for those. Those are just things we're aware of as we're planning. These are the ones where somebody's going to drive it and make sure it happens. So does it go under something here, or is that a completely different major piece? Think we go under security? Okay, let's make sure we don't forget that, and I'm just going to put first aid right here. Okay, what else? Yeah.
Stay away from the border patrol.
Tucson, bring it up.
Maybe we need to. Yeah, that's a sensitivity. Watch out for the Border Patrol. Maybe we need to reconsider the desired result called community visibility. All right, Richard.
One more reaction. Does that need to be a piece, someone to make sure that there's special stuff?
So, okay. Photography and videography. How about that? Okay. Is that a major piece? Okay. Yeah.
You're probably going to want the sound system and videography under just AVL, audiovisual lighting.
All right. How about that? How about if we merge the sound system and all the photography and videography all under AVL? Well, AV. Do we need lighting?
Depends. How long is this thing going?
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to cross these out, and I'm going to make one right here called audio visual parentheses L. Maybe lighting. All right, how about guidelines? He's saying people could get political and even bring their Romney or Obama signs and such. Security. Let me ask you this. Do we need a major piece called administration that's kind of organizing this whole thing, keeping track of all the pieces, and they could also have the guidelines and such? How about that? Administration? Okay, admin right there. Okay, can we stop right there? All right, let's stop right there. Now, what we just said was, if we're going to hit these desired results, and people are going to enjoy it, have fun, have connection with each other, the new people are going to come out and get connected, we're going to have community visibility and memories and such, we're going to need these major pieces in effect to get that done. Now, let me just ask you, where does signage go? I noticed that our picnics, one of the biggest problems is, well, directions. Sometimes the directions we've given people are not right. I checked it on Google Maps, and that's what they said. It led us to a dead end behind Walmart. And then, yeah, and the Border Patrol is waiting for us, yeah. Knew we shouldn't have put that Border Patrol agent in charge of directions. Another thing is, we've gone to some parks that were like really large, that were like on both sides of major streets, and we were going to be on one side or the other. And when we came in and everybody drove in, there was no sign there to say the Rock Picnic this way or that way. And there are all these, you got to have a sign, a big sign at every juncture to say, don't turn here, keep going straight, or turn here, right? You got to have something there. Well, we found out that not everybody is good at thinking through signs. So where does signs go here? Would that go in promotion? Should we put that, keep that in promotion? Yeah. Okay. So we could do that, or we can put it in admin. Okay, as long as we have it. Okay. Somebody paste this on the wall. And we're not going to take the time here to break down every major piece. But here's what we would do in a strategic planning. This is why it goes hours. Yeah. What are we missing? People. That's true. I would think promotion is going to rally those. What do you think? If we did put people up there and we broke it down into minor pieces, what would we break it down into? Old people? Okay. So, and what are we going to do with that major piece? Aren't we going to promote for them and do activities for them? And so isn't it up here already, everything for the people? Okay. I think it's covered. All right. So now what we're going to do is, in a regular strategic plan, we're going to take each one of those pieces and we're going to put it in the middle of the circle, and then we're going to break it down. And here's what we're doing. I know as a leader that when we walk out of this strategy meeting, that there's somebody in this room that's going to own that major piece. And what I want to do is, I'm not going to do all their work for them and think through every detail. But we want to give them a head start so they know exactly what we're talking about in that major piece. You know, does signage go with administration or does signage go with promotion? We're going to clarify that so when everybody walks out, they know what their part is. Is this good? Okay, this is simple. It's not that complicated. Okay, so let's just do this. Let's just take a couple of these major pieces and let's break them into minor pieces. Tell me which ones you want to break down. Okay, activities. Let's do activities. Okay, now, let me just stop you before you say, you know, banana run and tug of war and everything. Let me just stop you. We want the desired results to come to pass. So we're not asking the question, what did we do last year? And what's fun? We're asking the question, what kind of activities would bring connection to people? What kind of activities would help to make it enjoyable and fun? What kind of things would enfranchise the new people? Would bring community visibility and such? See, always focus everybody back to what you're really after and not just what we did last time that seemed to go okay. We may do that, we may not. But the point is that we hit our targets. Everybody with me? See, and you as the leader, if you don't keep bringing it back to those targets, you'll just plan off of everybody's history. And you won't plan for the future. Okay? All right. All right. Some people need to go to the restroom. If you need to go to the restroom, go to the restroom. There he goes right there. Okay, are you suggesting we take a break and then come back and do this? Okay, let's do that. Let's take can we take a 10-minute break?
Yeah.
I have about 10 minutes till 11. Let's start back at 11 o'clock and we'll start breaking down some major pieces. Process of life, huh? Okay, we're moving along quickly. Ah, I see some kissing going on over here. No PDA. We're going to put the rules under administration. Okay. All right, activities, here we go. Let's just break down two of these major pieces. Activities. Why are we planning activities? Somebody tell me. Okay, to hit our desired results, right? So, somebody give me an activity that'll help to hit one of these desired results.
Remembering Pastor Dunk Tank.
Pastor Dunk Tank. Should we do a dunk tank? Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to put it down here. Dunk tank. And of course, the pastors in here think that's a terrible idea. That's old. Nobody likes that anymore, right? And we come up with any way possible to discount that idea. All right, another activity. Kickball. Why kickball? It's inclusive. Everybody can do it. Almost everybody. All right. Kickball. All right, what else? Inflatables. Oh, the famous three-legged race. Is that good for memories? Is that good for injuries? Okay? What's next? Picture booths. Is that good? What kind of ball? Boxy ball? Bocce ball? That's for old people? Is that what you said?
No,
Older.
it's not for old people.
Bocce, okay. I don't know. Maybe that's why I don't know what it is.
I love bocce.
For older people. And I'm not Italian, okay? How do you spell bocce? Is it B-O-C? B-O-C. Another C. That's it. That's how you spell it? Nolan, is that right? Bocce ball. Okay, there we go. All right. What's another activity? Bungee jumping. All right. Hey, we said we're going to put the kids in here too, right? Any special ones for the kids? Face. Do we need that? Is that good? Face painting. There are a lot of adult ladies do that every day. I've heard. That's a sensitivity, okay. Leaders' comments are sensitivity, that's for sure. Okay, what else? Volleyball. I didn't say I didn't like volleyball. Volleyball. How about volleyball? No, yeah? No? Let's put it down. Okay. Oh, I lost the tip of the pen. All right, let's pick a different one. Here you go. That one's for you. Strike. All right. Volleyball. Horseshoes. What do you think about horseshoes? Horseshoes. I told you there are a lot of cowboys around here. Okay. All right. You can see right here. Now, did we forget about what our desired results were? Because what you want to do is, you don't want to just have a brainstorming session and here's all the games I can think of. We want to write down games, and you as the leader are going to keep putting the governor, is that going to help us get that? Is this going to help us get that? If you don't do that as a leader, then all you're doing is planning busyness. But you're not accomplishing your goals. You're not taking your ministry to the desired place. This is the discipline that you have to have as a leader. Don't let it get up on the sheet if you don't feel it's going to get us where we need to go. So keep asking the questions until you get agreement.
Can we define connection? Is it connection with other people? Is it connection with God?
I believe that my understanding of connection was connecting with each other. Okay, let's do one more breakdown of a major piece. What other major piece do we want to break down up there? Let's see, budget, activities, location, promotion. Why don't we do promotion? Okay? Let me tell you, if you don't break down promotion, usually promotion will not happen well enough. Because we just kind of think, we're going to throw it in the bulletin because we know everybody. Okay, enough said. Or it just becomes a platform announcement. So let's talk about this. We not only want people to come, but we want new people to come, the visitors to come. Right? People that they're not really integrated into the church yet. So let's think about ways that we want to promote this picnic. Social media. What does that mean? This is something, social media is something that we have recently begun to employ in a big way at The Rock. And our guy came up to church, our Ty came up in front of the church one Sunday as we were approaching our Christmas services. And he just said, look, if we do an e-blast out to everybody in our database, here's how many thousands of people get and such. And if we send a letter out, if we just announce that here's how it would happen. If you guys here, this is how many people we have here, if 1,000 of you out here would go and like our page and we put out a promotion and such, we would reach with that promotion, and he went into the tens of thousands of people that would have that flash up on their Facebook page. And it's such a minimal cost. And of course, we wouldn't do that for a picnic, I don't think. But for Christmas services, we would. So some of these things, if you don't get into a meeting and talk about it and think through what you're going to do, you'll never take advantage of it, and you'll just stay right where you are. And so this was something that we were a little slow in the game. By the way, I just read this past week in the news that Facebook hit 1 billion active users. Anybody else read that or see that on the news? 1 billion. It's all over the place. So we're going to promote this through social media. That's going to get the word out. And I do think that this is a good way for a picnic, because people that didn't show up at church, they're going to hear about this. People are doing Facebook. All right, promotion. Flyers. Okay, and we'll do flyers. Did somebody say budget? Okay. I think that's a good point, because every one of these major pieces is going to take budget, right? And so let me put budget here, because we do need to make sure that we know what we have to spend. Let me take a black pen here. I'm going to throw this to somebody, and somebody add budget to the activities page over there. There we go. And this is the power of writing it down now. We're going to just add it in real time. It's a living document, right? Okay, so we got budget. What else? Okay, email and texting. Very good.
Door to door?
Door to door. You want to do that for picnic? So you want to invite people that haven't even come to your church yet. We didn't put that down as a desired result to get new people, but if that is a desired result, that would be an effective way. What do you think? Should we add it to the desired results? That we really want to get people that haven't even visited our church yet? Or we're just trying to get the people that have visited connected? We said new people, but I think we were talking about the new people in our church that are not yet connected. Okay, or people bringing a new person. So if that's what we're after, we want to put that on the targets, because I didn't understand that new people meant people that have never visited our church. I thought we were talking about the newer people of the church, because those are two different categories, right? So what do you want to do? Do we want to make this picnic about connecting the people that have already come to church, or do we want to make it about bringing people that have never been to our church? Do you see how this discussion is good? Do you see how we could all think we know what we're talking about and walk out and we're talking about different things? That's why you do this, and you just have to talk through it. So let's make a decision right now. Are we after people that have never come to church and we're using this picnic as an outreach event? Or are we saying, no, we want to focus on connecting the people that are already here, because if we focus on the people that are not here yet, then we could overlook the necessary connecting of the people that are here. Either one is a great approach. We just have to know what we're doing. How many of you say we want to use this as an outreach event as well? Raise your hand. Okay, how many of you say, no, let's just use it to connect people that have already come to our church and get them integrated? Okay, so that's the way we'll keep it. All right, so therefore, we probably won't go door to door, right? Do you see how that just eliminated that? Okay, very good.
What about community visibility? Where does that fall in?
Community visibility. I think, see, the desired results could come into any one of these. I would think signage is going to help with community visibility. If you just have a little sign so people can get there, that's great. But if you want community visibility, maybe a sign out in front of the park that's kind of a larger sign that said, you know, your church name's picnic today. Here, this is the hours and such, and so people are going to see all these people that are coming in. That's what this is. It may not be allowed, but those are the kind of things you'll think about.
The question is, if you're not trying to reach people outside the church, does it matter then now about community visibility?
What I was thinking, and you guys tell me how you feel about it. And by the way, this is what you do. You just ask everybody, what do you think? I was thinking that we wanted to accomplish people knowing and seeing us doing something, not so much come to the picnic today. Okay, back in the back and then up here.
Through your small groups?
Oh, promote through the small groups. Ah. So small group announcement. Good. Okay, so we have video, and what did you call the other ones? Verbal. And that's church, right? Okay, so we're going to use the bulletin, even though we know it's limited. Okay, bulletin. What is it? Scolding. Hey, you know, sometimes that works for certain people. Right. But outreach does happen. That's very good. That's very good. Okay. So, any other ways we're going to promote?
How about like every team leader inviting through their team?
Okay. So ministry, team, invites. Good. Okay. Did we want to put signage here or under admin? Okay. All right, let's put it here. And everybody understands, it may not matter where you put it, but it has to be somewhere, right? Okay. All right. Should I put urinal signs up here? All right. Bathroom signs. All right. All right, let's just stop right here. Now I want you to listen to this. Just because we took, what, 10 minutes to talk about promotion? Look at this. We're going to have flyers, and maybe with these flyers, they're actually going to be the greeters out front as people come into church, and we're saying, hey, we want to make sure that you know about our picnic that we're having, right? Ministry teams, you know, the ushers, greeters, choir, kids, and on and on and on. They're all saying, hey, don't forget about our picnic. Don't forget about our picnic. Here's a flyer, right? Okay, we've got email, text, video announcements, verbal platform announcements, the bulletin. We're going to have signage at the park, budget. There's small group announcements. There's social media. We got it on Facebook, Twitter, and such. And we've got bathroom signs. Now look, this is a lot of promotion. Do you think that promoting it this much and this clearly will actually increase the attendance of it? Yeah. 10 minutes can sometimes double or triple how many people are involved because you took 10 minutes in your meeting just to break it down. Okay? Now, let's pull this. Somebody put this on the wall for us. And does everybody get that we just did 2 of the major pieces? In your strategy meeting, you'll just take one at a time. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. This is not complicated. It starts to look complicated, but it's not. You just take one piece at a time and you break it down. Okay, so we're not going to go with the other, or whatever it is, 7 pieces. But let's jump to the next thing. After major pieces and after minor pieces, what's next? Deadlines, okay? So now we're going to see when does this have to be done. For a picnic, it could be an absolute. We've got to do it on this particular Saturday or this particular Sunday or whatever it is. Okay, a lot of times we did ours on a Sunday afternoon after church, and we found out the crowds, for whatever reason, were bigger because they were just stirred up about being in church. And, hey, you know what, let's go out there. Let's go run home and get our stuff, and we'll go out there, and we tend to have bigger crowds on Sundays. But you got to pick the deadline. When is this all going to happen? For your ministry, if you have a vision of launching a new ministry, a new men's group, women's group, or something like that, you may have a launch date. That's your deadline. Here's the day we plan to make the big announcement and the big launch, and so there it is. Big event or whatever. Okay, so you're going to pick a deadline. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll just take a color and I'll go over to the major pieces page and I'll just write with a different color on that. Now, I was taught, some of you have heard this before, that if you use different colors, that it stimulates creativity. So I use different colors. And I don't know if it's working or not, but it helps the black pen not to run out faster, okay? If nothing else. All right, so somebody give me a random picnic date. July the 4th. All right, here we go. That's a long ways away, but let's do it. July the 4th. On July the 4th. I know there's some controversy about that. Here, somebody take the orange pen and go write July 4th on the major pieces page. July the 4th. There it is. Deadline. Okay. Milestone. Now you notice I'm just keeping it simple. Some of the details that are in there, you can go more detailed, but just keep it simple. Keep it to where you can keep track of it. Milestones. Let me tell you what we mean by milestones. July 4th. So that's a long ways away. Usually a picnic's not going to be that far away. But what's the date today? Is today the 6th of October. Okay, so between October 6th and July 4th, how many months is that? November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Okay, so we got 9 months. 9 months. Now, if we had a once a month touch base meeting to see how we're doing on this, then that means that we've got 9 segments of time to get all of this done. That's more time than we need, okay? But that's 9 segments of time. Let's say we're going to do it October, November, December, January, February. Let's say we're going to do it February 4th. I know that's not the best time for a picnic necessarily, but let's just say 4 months. That's probably a more typical time of a picnic planning. So if our picnic is 4 months away from where we are right now, then we have 4 segments of time. We have 4 months, so to speak, if we're going to do monthly meetings. We're going to have 4 segments of time. So generally speaking, we need to have about 25% of the work done and the preparation done by the time we get to our next milestone meeting. Everybody see that? See, what am I doing? I'm breaking this down for everybody so we don't just say, prepare for the picnic. No, but it's like, well, we got to have some things done first. Like, for example, when we're picking a location, we can't wait till the last month to start thinking about that. We got to know those things early on. What facilities do they have? Where is it? How much cost does it have? Is it available? We got to get that up front. Okay, so if we have 4 months to plan this and we're going to touch base each month, then we need about 25% done by each milestone. Does this make sense to everybody? Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll take a different color. Let me pick this lime green here. And we'll just come over. In fact, I'm going to walk over here. I know we got the video going, but let me walk over here. And I'll walk over, not to the major pieces page, but to the minor pieces. So the minor piece, we took the major piece called activities, we put it in the middle, and we broke that major piece down into what we're calling minor pieces. It's not exhaustive, but it sure gives the person that's going to be over activities a big head start as to what we're asking them to do. Right? Now, so if we're here October the 6th, and we're going to meet, say, somewhere around November the 6th, what we're saying to each person is, you're going to need to have about 25% of the work done to be staying on track so we're ready by the time we get to the picnic. So when we look over this, we may say, are there any things that they can do here that need to be done, they need to get started on right away? Well, as I'm looking over this, I would ask the team, what do we need to get started off? Somebody might say, you need to get those inflatables reserved because they may not be available that day, so you better get on that right away. Just get them reserved for that day, and so we say, okay, there you go. Oh, this pen has no ink in it. All right, I'll use the red pen. Okay, so I just put an asterisk. Just make it simple. Just put a little asterisk there and say, you need to get on that one by the time we meet next. Egg toss, that's no big deal, but picture booth. That may be something, you better reserve that. You better get on that right away and not wait till the last minute on that. Three-legged race, budget, yeah, we better do the budget, before you start making a lot of plans, better figure out the budget, okay? And so if they just have those three either done or at least in process to be done by the time we get next to our milestone, we would think, okay, you're on track. You're on track. You're working through it. Everybody with me? Okay. You don't have to have it all done. Okay, promotion. Now, let me just read these off, and you tell me which of these, if we're going to do a good job with promotion for this picnic, which of these should we already have either done or be well into process by the time we come back a month from now? Flyers, meeting, team invites, email, texting, video, verbal announcements at the church, bulletin, signage, budget, small group announcements, social media, or bathroom signs. Somebody tell me what we should get on right away. Budget. Okay, budget. Right there, we got to get on that. What else? So, think social media? Yes. Okay. What else? Ministry team invites. And should we put it in the bulletin? Okay, so let's just say, now we're just doing this quickly, but let's just say we're going to end up telling this person, we don't even know who it is yet. We're going to tell this person, hey look, these are the things we want to use with promotion. Make sure to work on the budget first. But make sure with the bulletin, the budget, the social media, and the ministry team invites, maybe including the flyers so the ministry team have something to work on. Let's get those going right away so we can get a good jump on that. So by the time we come next month to the meeting, have those things in process. That make sense? Now, so we're going to walk through each major piece, and we're going to asterisk the minor pieces that say, you know what, by the time we get back next month, have these in process. That make sense? And we're going to, how many of those pages are we going to have? As many major pieces as are on this major pieces page. Because each one of these pieces are going to be in the middle of a circle on a minor piece page. That make sense? And so it's just very easy, and this is the power of paper. If a whiteboard, we wipe this out, we can't go back and put an asterisk. But with paper, we can just walk around the room and say, how about this one? How about this one? How about this one? And we put those asterisks on. Okay? I could also add here, we have July 4th. Let's change that. We're going to go February 4th. Let me write it here. February 4th is the picnic, and the next meeting is November 6th, and it's a milestone meeting. Okay? So, what we're saying is, by November 6th, the ones that are asterisked all along the minor pieces page, those are either complete or they're well into process. Okay, so after milestones, what's next? Dun, 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 dun. Roles and responsibility. Yes? Yep. That's a great point. So depending on what project you're on, some take much more lead time than others. And you're exactly right. For the parks that we reserve, we have to be a year in advance. That's exactly right. But because we do it every year, we don't wait for the strategic planning meeting to do that. We've come down to pretty much one park that we do it at now. And so when we finish this picnic, we reserve for the next year, but we don't necessarily start strategizing for that yet. Does that make sense? So, but that's a good point. Sometimes you can't wait until even 4 months in advance. Very good point. Okay. So, roles and responsibilities. Now, why in the world would we want to wait until the end to decide who's going to be over these? Wouldn't we want them to be thinking about this while we're going through it, to be thinking about what they're responsible for? You would think yes. Why would we push it off to the end? And let me just tell you, it's very intentional that we did. Can anybody think of a reason why we would want to wait to get people to commit to taking a certain piece?
Clarifies the expectation. Yeah.
Clarify the expectations. So listen, if they volunteer up front for a major piece, and then you break it down, and then you say this is what has to be done by next month, you're going to come back next month, and you're going to ask them, did you get that done? They're going to say no. You go, why not? You said you were going to get that. Well, listen, when I volunteered, you didn't say I had to do all that, and you didn't say I had to do it by this month. I had a lot going on this month. Right? What you want to do is just wait until you lay it out, and wait until you say what has to be done overall and by next month. And then if they volunteer, there are no excuses. I knew what I was signing up for. I knew what the overall scope was, and I knew what I was supposed to have done by the next meeting. See, and so you want to make sure that they know what they're agreeing to when they agree to it. And you're thinking, wouldn't it be better if they're all involved in it? Everybody's thinking these things through. Another good thing is, if you have somebody that's going to be over something and they don't want to do a lot of work, so they start limiting what's happening. But if you're just doing what needs to be done, then they can just help be a part of the process. Okay? So, roles and responsibility. So here's what I do. Let me grab this major pieces page. I usually just take this back off the wall and I put it right back up here on my flip chart. And I'll just take a different color. Let's see, do we have any other colors in here? Let's try to see if this purple has anything in here. Okay, and I'll just say, okay, who is it that is going to take responsibility for these? Now let me just stop and tell you something right here. Here's where you as a leader are going to be conflicted. Because if you just say, who wants to do one of these? Inevitably, you're going to have somebody volunteer for something that you don't feel like they're able to lead. And the last thing you want to do is unnecessarily embarrass them in front of everybody. And so, I suggest that if you already know of certain leaders in that room that were invited to take a particular major piece, that you start off there to make sure that nobody's jumping in saying that and you have to put them down and put somebody else up there and hurt somebody's feelings. Sometimes it happens, you just can't avoid it because somebody jumps in there and volunteers. But I suggest you try to get the ones nailed down that you already know and that are obvious. Like, for example, if you have the audio-visual person of the church sitting in the room because you knew you were going to need audio-visual for the picnic, well, that's a no-brainer. That's why they're in the meeting. And so sometimes I'll say, let's get the easy one knocked out. The easy one's knocked out first. And you'd say, audio-visual, okay? Audio-visual, I think we all are pretty clear. Bob's going to take that. Bob, you good with that? Okay, so I'll just come over here to audio-visual, and I'll just write Bob right there. Okay, and then I'll say, all right. And then promotion, where's promotion? Promotion's down here. And, we already know Megan's got all these ideas over here, and she knows how to do all this stuff. And so everybody good at Megan doing it? Megan, you good with doing it? Okay, good. And so we'll just put Megan's name right there. And so we'll get these ones knocked off. But then you're going to come to some, usually, where you don't really know who's going to take responsibility for some of these other pieces. And so you just start asking, okay, who's going to take food? Anybody want to take food? Anybody really like that? You feel like you're really good at managing food for that many people? And it's got to be quick, it's got to be organized and such. Anybody? And somebody may say, I'll do it. And then somebody else may say, I'll help them. And if you feel good, does everybody feel good about that? And if you feel good about it, then you can put their name. And so, here's let's put Lucy. There's Lucy. Lucy's going to take that. Maybe, Alice said she's going to help. What? Is Lucy not good at that? Alice said she's going to help Lucy, okay? Now, if I put Lucy/Alice, who's responsible? Lucy's responsible. And I always have a little talk. Whoever's name is first, you are responsible. No volleyball. You hit the ball. You make sure the ball's hit, okay? So we're going to go through and we're going to put the names of people on this. So here's Igor, and here's Mervin, and here's Agatha.
That's my name.
That's your name? Okay. Good. You're responsible for the connection team. Okay, who's over budget?
Judas.
I need a name. Okay. Judas. Okay. That's right. Okay, I got Peter and I got John in there. Okay, so there we go. We got them all figured out. Now, let me tell you what I say to everybody. I'll say, let me just be clear and make sure that all of you know what you're going to be responsible for. Everybody realizes you're responsible. Look at your major piece page that's broken down. All of those minor pieces, that is a head start. We didn't exhaustively figure out every detail of what you need to do. That's a head start of what you need to do, the minor pieces. But then the asterisks, those are what you need to either have done by next meeting or you need to have well into process by next meeting. Everybody understand? And they'll say, yeah, I got it. And sometimes people have questions or whatever. And of course, if you have anybody else sitting there that their name is not up here, just say, okay, who's not up here yet? Okay, where would you like to help? And you can just add their name behind another name and they can support that. Okay? Now, just wondering if I should tell you this now or if I should wait till execution.
We're serious about this stuff.
I'm going to wait until execution to tell you this. Now, let me just wrap this up, and then I want you to do a little bit of table work, okay? Let me just wrap this up and share with you the power of what just happened in your meeting. And this is what I rehearse with everybody before we leave. Before we pray and leave, I rehearse this. Does everybody know what we're planning here? Yes. Does everybody know what our targets are? Our desired results? People glance over at the desired result page. Yes. Does everybody know what all the major pieces are that are involved in this? Yes. Does everybody know what their major piece is that they are responsible for? Yes. Does everybody know the overall deadline? Yes. Does everybody know what they have to have done by the time we meet here in 1 month? Yes. So, when we come back in a month, we should be clear on where we'll be. Right? Yeah. And I'll just tell them, because what we're going to do is, we're not going to just start talking about other things. We're going to take this exact plan, we'll get it into, a document, we'll email it to all of you so you have it in, a Word doc or something, and we're going to bring it out, and we're just going to go piece by piece, and we're going to look at the people that are responsible. We're going to say, how did you do? You were going to have these things done. Did we get these done? Tell us about it. Is it done or not? And we're just going to walk through it. And let me tell you what that does. It helps everybody to understand, oh, like, we're serious. Like, you want me to work. Right? Listen, let me tell you what happens in the average meeting in church. We come together, we talk about wonderful things, and everybody walks away, and we think that the leader is going to do most all of it. You're going to have a very small ministry if that's what people think. People need to understand this is going to require a big team. And in fact, we all as leaders have to walk out and recruit a team and walk through maybe a simplified version. But if I'm over promotion, I got to get a little promotion team and just walk through all the different ways of promotion. And then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to break it into my major pieces, and my major pieces are going to be like the minor pieces, social media and such, and I'm going to put a leader over each one of those. And so now I've got maybe 6 or 7 people, maybe 2 or 3 or 4. Doesn't matter. The point is that I get it done. But I got these teams of people, and now you in your original meeting, because you took it seriously, everybody knew what their responsibilities were. They walk out, they have accountability to come back and to report on it. They're going to be much more motivated to actually do something and to get down the road. You know, John Maxwell said, people do not do what is expected. They do what is inspected. And so if people know that you're going to go over this exact sheet and look at the leader to see if it happened, they're going to be more motivated to actually do it. Isn't that true? Now, how many of you can see the power of just very simply being clear, everybody's clear, what we're doing, what our targets are, what the breakdown is, what my responsibilities are, when I have to have it done, overall, what I have to have done by next month. Can you see the power of this? This is Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision and make it plain. Listen to the way it reads in the text. Write the vision and make it plain on tablets. Not just one mission statement or vision statement. It's not enough. Write the vision and make it plain on tablets, like we're doing here, that he may run who reads it. Now, people can run. You wrote it down. They're clear. Now I know what to do. I can run. And you'll be surprised how far you get down the road when you have a team of leaders that are clear and empowered to run and get things done, and they know they're in alignment with everybody else doing their part. This is powerful, isn't it? It's not more complicated than we can lead. We can do this. And you can do it for any size ministry, any size business or corporation. And you may do it a little bit differently, but the bottom line, these elements that we're talking about have to be present somewhere. They may have different names, but the element has to be there. And so that's what we're talking about. All right, let's finish up our time before lunch. We've got about 20 minutes.
Question.
Yes.
For clarification, who are at these meetings? Are these your staff, or volunteer staff, or for each
It's a
event
great
that
question.
you do you pick people to be at these meetings?
Yes, yes, and we talked about that in the preparation for a strategic plan. These are hand-selected people. This is not whoever wants to come. These are these invitation only to these meetings. And the reason for that is because you're looking for people that have a certain level of competence, some faithfulness, they have track records that you believe they can take something, and maybe you've never tested them before, but you're thinking, this person seems so dependable, I'm going to give them a shot. But it's also a person that has a context. So I want somebody, if I need somebody to oversee the budget, well, I can't just pick, a new person. I got to have somebody that understands a little bit about our church and how they're going to function and who they're going to work with. Who's the person over finances at our church? And they're going to have to interface a little bit with that and work on budget.
One thing that was not mentioned that the big deal, who cleans the park?
That's a good point. That's a good point. Set up and tear down could be a whole major piece. Isn't that right? Okay, and you see why this happens all the time is we have these afterthoughts, but usually because we're spending hours together, that'll come up sometime in the meeting, just like it did here. Okay, and we need somebody to be over that. Very good. So let me make sure that I answer.
I have part B.
Yes.
The other part, so every time you are planning an event in your church or something new, you're probably going to have a different group of people? Or
Yeah, so sometimes they overlap more than we like them to,
Okay.
because you have some go-to people, and it depends on the importance of the event. So a church picnic for us would be a high level, but not as high as Christmas services. And so, but because it's a high level, that's a big deal. But if we were having something like, let me see, if we were having, like on our Sunday night service, we wanted to have kind of a summer food and fellowship after our Sunday night services. Well, that's good, but that's not whole church. That's just for the Sunday night service. And so probably I'm not going to bring in all my big hitters for that.
You would do staff maybe?
Yeah, it just depends.
Okay.
For a lot of people in this room, you're a volunteer leader of maybe men's ministries, women's ministries, youth and such, and you may not have the authority to bring all the big hitters of staff in. so you're going to bring in the best people that you have.
Okay.
The point is that it has to be people that will respond to your leadership, and you can hold them accountable if they're not getting down the road, and you can say, hey, you took responsibility for this, we're dependent on you, you need to get on this. And if you're inviting people that are over you that you can't confront if you need to, then you're vulnerable. You have to have people that will respond to your leadership. And so, because I do strategic planning, usually who I have is a lot of staff, but we'll bring in some volunteers as well, because we have some volunteers that are over significant parts of our ministry. But as we go down the line, when we first started as a church, there was no staff. When we strategized, this process, I did this exact process to start our church. Exactly. With volunteers. There are no staff. And it worked. And so this is, in a sense, irrespective of whether it's a paid person or volunteer person, you just need the best you can get for that. Yeah, Rich?
So when you invite people, you're expecting that every major piece would be in that room.
That's exactly right. So as a leader, when I'm inviting the people to be a part of this, I've already got the major pieces in my mind, or at least a good idea of what they are, because we've done this before. And sometimes I might even do a little mind map on a page and say, let's see, what all are we going to need? And make sure that we invite people to cover those major pieces. You're exactly right. And that's why a leader is a leader, because a leader is always farther ahead than the group. Right? But that's exactly right, Rich. You're going to want to be ahead.
What do you do if two people really want one position or nobody chooses a new position?
Okay? Two great questions. What do you have if two people both really want to lead that? That's why we have a leader to make that decision. Right? And you get to be the bad guy or the good guy, depending on which one of those two people you ask, that makes that decision. And that's why if you don't have a strong leader that is willing to make it, then causes problems. And you could do it like this. Just say, you know what? Man, how many churches would love to have two people that could lead something like this? This is great that we have it. So, both of you can be involved in it, but one of you I need to take the lead position so that we can hold one person responsible. So are there either of you that would say, you know what, I'll support the other person? Sometimes if you don't have a preference as a leader, then sometimes just ask, would either of you just say, I'd be willing to support this other person? And you don't want to ask, would either of you be willing to dominate the other person? Don't ask that. Ask it, who'd be willing to, and sometimes you'll have somebody, hey, I don't mind, let him be the leader, I'll support him. Sometimes you have a mature person like that, and that puts in your mind, maybe that's the leader next time around. Because of that character, right? And you just do it that way. Or you might just say, I don't want to let him choose because I know which one I want. And say, well, let me see. James, would you mind this time? I know you could do it well, but would you mind supporting John on this, in this role? Since we have two strong leaders, would you mind? Would that be okay with you? And just let them respond. And I try to let them answer instead of saying, John, you support, would you be willing to do that? And I mean 99% of the time, even if they don't feel good about it, they'll do it. They'll say, yeah, I'll do that. Because it was a very respectful way of approaching it. But that's what you have to do. If you have no leader, here's what you do. You stand there and you say, we can't walk out until we get a leader. Somebody's got to do it. And people will recommend people that are not in the room. No, and it's a perfectly natural recommendation, because sometimes we think of somebody that's really good at that outside the room. And what I'll say is, they would be good at that, and I'm fine if somebody gets them involved and has them lead it. But what I want to know is, who in this room that's been a part of this, that understands what we're doing, is going to take the responsibility for it. You can hire the President of the United States if you can get him to do it. That's not what I'm talking about. But I need somebody in this room that understands what we're doing to take responsibility to make sure it's done, and it's done the way that we're talking about. See, and so we just stand there, we look at each other. Somebody will surface. I'll do it. All right. You'll do it? You feel good about that? Everybody feel good about that? Yes. You know. And so, put their name up. But you as a leader, you got to be strong. Don't just say, well, I guess we'll figure that out later. No, we're figuring it out now. That's why we're here. When we walk out, we need to be clear on exactly who's carrying what ball. Because if nobody has the ball, nobody's running with the ball. We got to know it's in your hands. Run with it. So just be strong. Good. Any other questions?
Right here.
Yes.
I guess it's going way back to the beginning, but if you have your key players in the room, or you've invited them, and they feel like they want to invite someone else to the meeting, do you let them do that, or?
Yeah, if you want, well, let me preface by saying this. If they ask, hey, how would you feel about me inviting this person? That's a wonderful thing. If they just start inviting people, then that reveals a weakness of leadership and a lack of clarity of communication. Because when you talk to them, you need to be clear. This is invitation only. This is not a y'all come. I'm hand selecting key people to be in this strategy meeting to take leadership on certain parts of this. So we don't want people bringing their friend along. Now listen, once we strategize and we all walk out with our pieces, go get people to be involved with you. But in this meeting, I need my team that is coming to the meeting because they're saying, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'm on the team here. And so it needs to be the people that I've selected. So this is not, let me tell you, what we're talking about here is not typical church. Typical church is we come in here, we talk, whoever comes, that's great. Well, if you couldn't make it, that's okay. Don't worry about it. You know, we love Jesus, you love Jesus, Jesus loves you. Don't worry about it. It's no big deal. That's typical church. But let me just tell you, you don't go very far. Because in the real world, we got to get something done. So that's why I suggest you not just let people bring their friends. If they come and say, I got somebody to bring and such, well, if you don't even know the person, I recommend you say, no, this is not that type of meeting. This is a business strategic planning meeting, and so I need the leaders that we really know are going to take a piece of this thing. But I think there's going to be a place for them to be involved at the next level. So just hang on to that thought. That's what I would suggest.
As a person overseeing the brainstorming and everything, how much of the responsibility do you take?
All. We're responsible, right? So I'm making them responsible, but I really know I'm responsible. I'm responsible whether it be to my senior pastor or to the Lord, but I'm responsible. So that's why I have to be graciously firm about how we go about this process, because the outcome is highly important. And I know that if I don't treat it as important and hold the standards, the team won't do it either. So I have to do that. So I have to be responsible for everything. Now that doesn't mean that I'm just going to go do everybody's job. My role is to put people in charge and empower them, give them the information they need, the encouragement they need, the prayer that they need, the accountability that they need, so that they win. If these leaders win, I win, right? So I don't want to be their adversary. I want to be their cheerleader. I'm behind them. Hey, what can I do to help you? Right? I don't want to do your job, but I want to do what I can to help you to do it well. See, so empowerment is key.
So would you put on the major pieces like project manager or something and put your own name on there, or?
Yeah, that's a good question, because sometimes the leader that's walking through the strategy is the one that's going to carry on the meeting to meeting to meeting. There's oftentimes, like for example, we just recently, in fact this Sunday, we're having the grand opening of the Battle Creek, Michigan satellite campus called The Rock. And when before Daniel and Julia Davenport left to go to Battle Creek, Michigan, we got a team of their people, most of which were in the Anaheim church that have uprooted and since they moved. We got them in there along with key leaders from our church, because the launch of Satellite Campus is not just on that pastor, but it's on, you know, our administrative leaders, it's on some of our key pastors in our church. It's a big deal. So we got all in the room. I led the strategy. I walked right through it. I want to make sure that it's done right. I want to make sure everybody's clear. But I also was clear that the next meeting that's going to happen, Pastor Daniel, who's the Satellite Campus pastor, he's going to lead that meeting. I won't be in all of those. So he's the team leader. I just made that clear up front. So meeting to meeting to meeting, he leads it. But I started it off and kicked it off and made it clear that I was delegating to him. So he became the project manager, and that was clear up front. So everybody knew he's the one that's going to hold you accountable. But I wanted to make sure that I was involved and clear on where we were going and the direction, but then handed it right off to Daniel. So sometimes that happens, and you do delegate to another project manager. You want to try to do that the first day and not surprise everybody and not show up to the first meeting. Somebody else shows up. Okay, what did you guys talk about? Oh, it's over. It's over. That person wasn't even in the room. It's over. You've got to have somebody that was in that room lead that team to victory. Now, you guys just trying to get out of the discussion time? Is that what's happening here? Okay.
For smaller churches, we might not have as many leaders. Would you put somebody's name on more than one piece?
Yes.
And how about your own name on a piece?
Yep, absolutely. I've done it more times than I wish I had. Absolutely. Hey, you know, loaves and fish.
Yeah.
Right? Well, we need 12 leaders, right? Or we need, come on up, man. We need 12 leaders, or we need 300 denarii to be able to do this. And what do we have? We got 5 loaves and 2 fish worth of leaders. You know what Jesus said? That's enough. Whatever you have is always enough, because you have the power of God with you. So if I only got a handful of meal and a little oil in a jar worth of leaders, that's enough, right? If I just got a little oil and the debt collectors are coming to take away my 2 boys, that's all I need. That and a word of the Lord. This oil's not going to run out. We're going to fill up these containers, sell them, get completely out of debt, and have money to live on. See what I'm saying? So absolutely. One day, if strategy is working like the Lord says it's going to work, because we're starting with a word from the Lord, then you're going to get to the place where you have those things. But when I first started, my name's on the list right on, along with everybody else, and we did. We doubled up. You're exactly right. That's what we do.
Yeah, part of the victory comes in blessing what you have. So it looks little, but bless it, right? We curse it so often. It's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. You're the source, you're the key. I bless what I have. I thank you in the name of Jesus. It multiplies and it produces much. I like standing next to you. This is nice. I just wanted to share something specifically for you senior pastors. Because you are the leader, the primary leader, and you have the greatest level of influence, hopefully, right? If you're the senior pastor. Some of these things that you want to see happen in the church, you're going to be the primary person leading through a strategy, because it needs to have your heart and your DNA. You may not end up being the manager, but whatever it is that the Lord is saying, focus on this, you need to be involved. So if you see there's a word from the Lord, you know you've got to focus on reaching the next generation. Well, you may not be the next gen leader, youth pastor, kids pastor, whatever. But if that's something that you know God is saying for your church, I would urge you to be the one to help bring the team and to walk them through the strategy. Now you can pass it on to your leader if they're ready to do that. But you as a senior pastor have tremendous ability to really move your congregation towards something. Don't always delegate. If it's something that is of the Lord and you know you're supposed to focus on it, use the influence you have and the grace you have to bring people along and to rally them. We've done things that have nothing to do with our senior pastor title because we know if it's going to take root in our church and it's going to go deep and it's going to become a part of who we are, we're going to have to lead the charge.
Yeah.
We don't stay in it, but we lead the charge. As a supervisor, I do it. Next year, I am doing the most of the next gen strategies. Why? Because it is on my heart. It is a word from the Lord. I'm not doing all the project leading, but I'm going to make sure and I'm involved. Why? Because it needs to become a part of our DNA. So whatever it is that you know is you're called to bring into your church at a high level, I urge you then, be the one to use that influence and that God-given strategy and make sure that it represents what is in your heart as well. Talk about unity between you and your youth leader. That's huge. When you just separate it, you're not tapping into influence, and you also don't even know that that's really what's on your heart. But then you appoint that person, or if you already have the youth leader, then you can say, okay, so the next meeting, that's with your youth leader. But this one, we wanted to make sure we were all going in the same direction as a church. So don't underestimate your authority and also your influence to be able to lead these things in much larger levels towards your whole church.
Now, think about, you can stay here for just a minute. Think about one area, maybe the ministry that you're over, that needs a strategy. What needs a strategy? If you're a senior pastor, obviously, you could either think, my whole church needs a strategy. We've done that for our whole church. And then after things continued to fan out, then we began to realize, boy, trying to strategize for the whole thing, there are too many pieces and it gets too convoluted. So we've learned, well, we have to break the church down into some pieces and strategize for that. So now we strategize for discipleship. We'll strategize for cell groups, strategize for services and such. And so, but what is it that you think, this is the first thing that I think, or one of the first things at least, that we need a strategic plan for? What is it? And I want you to do this. I want you to take 5 minutes. Now, we're not here to take all the time to get everything fully planned. But what we're doing is giving you these little times just to quickly think through something, and you'll realize, you know what, in just a few minutes, I actually thought through a lot of it. So I want you to think through these things. Just write the name of what the strategy is for. Is it for youth ministry or men's ministry, or is it for home group ministry, or is it for a whole church? Whatever it is, just write the name. Okay. Secondly, jot down some names of people that you think, you know what, I need these people to be there for that strategy. Just jot down their names. And then what I want you to do is, as soon as you get that done, I'll give you just a few minutes to do that. Then I just want you to take time and just share with the people at the table. Here's what it is I feel like we need to strategize for, and here's some people, and here's why these people need to come. And if you want to add to that, whether or not you believe that a strategic plan will help you to be more effective than the way you've been doing it.
Two things, something that it's minor but it's major, and that is you're going to write these things on the wall, but if you don't intentionally have somebody put it into a Word document and those papers get lost, you've just lost the vision. It's been written and now it's been thrown away. So you want to create this in a way that it's going to, you're going to have it. So the best way really to do it is to do it in a Word document. We're going to post on Moodle an example of a strategy that was done, and then how do you take the notes to send to everybody so that it's really simple and real clear, okay? But you need to have it.
Watch this.
You're blocking the camera.
Yeah,
I'm
watch
just
this.
kidding. You have that written document that everybody can have. Let me encourage you to. That person, hopefully they're in there and they can type it out for you and turn it around within 2 or 3 days or a week. Sometimes it's 2 months later, that's too late. It should be a quick turnaround of notes. The other simple thing is that, and I watched his brother do this and I thought it was brilliant, just take a picture of these papers, because then, again, you have record of it. And the last thing you want to do is to have a church filled with these white, rolled up, beat up papers. So if you take a picture of it, you get it into notes, you send it out, you're good to go, okay?
Yeah, what's interesting that we found out, because we've done it both ways, we type it all out, and we take the pictures, usually somebody's iPhone or something, they take the pictures, and check this out. We like the pictures usually better than the other. The other's all organized and everything, but when we look at it, it's foreign to us. It doesn't look like what we remember. And if we remember, I thought we said this, I thought we said that, and we say, bring out the pictures. And we look at it, oh, that's right, because we crossed that out, and all of a sudden we can see what we did, and it brings back our memories. So we do both, but we really like the pictures. Last night I had a council meeting, and
You did?
well, night before last.
I was going to say, wow, I thought that was you in my room.
Now you just hush up. Night before last, we had a council meeting. You didn't see those guys in there? She was sleeping. No, I was just kidding. And so I had to go over some significant information that we had developed with our pastors and such about some navigation that we were doing with budgeting. And so I needed to bring that to the church council. So I said, hey, I need this information for the church council. Well, the guy just brought the pictures. He said, I'll make sure you get this information. I thought he was going to type it out. He brought the pictures, and I was so glad because it was so easy to glance, and I knew exactly what it was. But if it was typed, I would have had to have been reading it to figure out what it was saying. So this is so easy today. Take a picture, send it to everybody. Everybody remembers what it was. Pretty cool, huh?